Good morning, guys. Today we're just doing a little fun live show. I know that the market is closed today, but we're just going to be paying attention to some things, answering some questions, and we actually put out on the course over the weekend. Remember, that thing is still at just $100. Get that before that price goes up because we just added to it, and I think it was one of the most powerful things I could have added, telling you exactly when to get out of a trade and how to manage a trade. Based on the timeframes that we cover on this channel. So based on my strategies, if you have taken my course and you understand how I do things around here, well, then that is how you would get in and out of a trade. And it's very, very powerful. I actually really liked that video. And so I wanted to show up live and see if anyone who took the course and got that added content, some people who already took the course, they were able to get that content as well. We do not charge extra for extra content. We are going to be adding to that course when we see things that are important. And that was a great video. So I just wanted to put that out there. And then we are going to do a little bit of a breakdown live here, and people can ask questions. People can ask to look at multiple stocks, and I will be putting out a YouTube video tonight, but I do have the daily ranges up today, and I thought it would be fun while the market is actually closed to talk about those ranges. All right. I just thought that would be very interesting. Okay. I thought that would be interesting going into a pretty big week, a little bit of a low volume week, but we do have things with the CAT system and things like that starting to implement as far as Tuesday goes. And if you guys were paying attention and you think that that stuff can't affect anything, if we actually pull up GME and we go to the extended trading hours, you're going to notice GME actually after the final bell on Friday saw a pretty good move up. Okay, so we got the final bell right at this bar right here. And what do we notice? And boom, we got a big move upward. So this is where we're really paying attention to what's going on, because I don't know, this big run up could be short sellers. This could be people getting excited before the weekend. That's why we're saying be cautious holding stocks over the weekend. So we'll turn that back to regular trading hours in case you want to look around at some stocks, but we're just talking today. We're asking questions, having some fun, just looking at maybe some Bitcoin or things like that, something that's trading right now we can take a look at. And then if you have questions about maybe a trade you're holding over the weekend, we can look at those stocks as well and just see if those are going to pay off. Like, right, we want to see if we're doing good habits and all that good stuff. So good morning. I just wanted to go live with you guys, keep our regular schedule, go on a little bit early because the boys, my dogs woke up this morning and they all had to go poo-poo. So I was like, dang it, all right, I have to get up really early. So normally I am up this early. It's just what I like to do, by the way, before I go live is I like to analyze the stocks before I go live. I like to see what info I can get before I go live. That way I really can try to do my best when you guys are asking questions. So good morning, Kunik. Really appreciate you being here this morning. First one to chat in here, but welcome to the channel. Today we are going to flash this guy up most of the day, right? Weekly ranges, Patreon. Remember the Patreon, we have added the weekly video. Okay, so the weekly video that I used to do is talking about these ranges, right? And we give trade setups based on the stocks that we cover. So I put up, now I can do it for sure, for real this week. And we had some good calls. We had calls with Apple in that video. We kept calling this out, saying this is going to be a significant drop. We put that video out on Wednesday, and boom, we see a significant drop. So this is very, very cool. My battery's low. I might have to plug in my other mouse. Dang it. I'm going to plug in my other mouse so nothing dies here. But good morning, guys. Was just watching that, and I want to know, and the reason I really wanted to put this video out there too, and just talk to you guys, was I want to make sure that video is helpful. I really thought it was a good video, and I think that maybe I'm a little bit biased, right? Because I'm the one creating it. And the reason I think it was so powerful, I didn't even realize how powerful it was. I just do it every single day. I do it every single day. And so like seeing it out loud, saying it out loud made it a lot different for me. I actually was able to be like, holy crap, this thing, I didn't realize like how powerful it was. And I ended up pulling up the SPY and just being like, oh my gosh, like I just kept going down the line instead of doing the actual video that I planned out. I just kept going down the line with the SPY. And then we talked about Nvidia and how you could have not gotten screwed out of that big move, right? So let me get this other mouse plugged in. That one needs to charge. There we go. All righty. So one of the ones we did go over was Nvidia. And we went over Nvidia, and you guys are like, oh, well, what'd you go over? Well, we actually go over Nvidia down in this area. and we showed you how you could not get screwed out of a move. And we also talked about your emotional reaction to, losing some money in this overall move. We talked about this. It's kind of a 2 hour or something like that. I think it was a daily divergence up here. That we were paying attention to right around this area where you could have been convinced, hey, this might be some kind of double top, and then notice that you get screwed. So that's what the video is about. It's about how to know to get out of this trade before you're all the way up here at 523 or 522, right? Because this right here would tell you to get out. I mean, but this is not the best exit. So we teach you how to get out of these type of moves earlier. And it's a very powerful video, and I wanted to see some of the reactions. Nvidia Weekly helped a lot. Yeah, so the Nvidia Weekly part, and this is something I kind of I glossed over because it was just very much so paying attention to the flow of the MACD, and that's overall what we're doing when we're looking at getting out of a trade. And we go specifics, we go very specific. But if you noticed in this scenario, something I meant to mention was notice that we're down at the weekly expected move on a Wednesday, and then we curl back up. That would be another indication of, hey, remember my probability to drop down from here is only 32% chance. Up in this area, you have 68. So can it go to 1100? I think it could. I think it might do it right away, but this is something I'm going to talk about in my video. And if you noticed on the Saturday video, I was mentioning how this looks like a very powerful bar, right? If I look at the weekly, it looks like a really, really strong bar. But when you break it down into like a 5 minute and really look at how this thing has been going up, I truly believe that this is just the lack of selling or the algorithms pushing it higher, right? People who are insiders kind of trying to buy into this at this point. And I'm just telling, I don't think this is the best time to buy into that. We have new weekly ranges that I do have, and I might actually post those right now. Let me actually get those up for you guys over on Patreon. I don't know if I posted those just yet, so let me go take a peek. I don't think I did. Just double check. No, we didn't, but we did talk about the when to get out of a trade. So if you have taken the course, make sure to go take that section. I think it's really, really helpful. And I just wanted to clarify that by going live today. I mean, we're keeping our regular schedule pretty much going on a little bit earlier. I can stay live for a little bit today, as you know, it's a chill day. It's a chill day. We have the day a little bit off. We can look at some futures market stuff. Let me see here. What was the date on this? 5/23. So I haven't taken a screenshot. Okay, let me take a screenshot of this real quick. Let me get those ranges up for you, and we can talk about some things going on today. But overall, this is just talking about, oh, I just hit delete. Dang it. I don't want to delete that. Thank God for undo buttons, guys, because we might have just almost deleted our weekly ranges for this week. And I also am adding a weekly range for GME and AMC, and we can talk about the behavior behind that as well. So I'm just going to screenshot that real quick, and we're going to put that over onto the Patreon. But good morning. I hope everyone's having a good day, right? We don't want to stay live too long, right? We still want you to have a good day off if you have the day off today. If you trade futures market, you might not have the day off, right? So we'll pay attention to a lot of things going on into this week. We will have a shortened trading week, so maybe we do see some continued manipulation. We'll have to find out. Say good morning in the chat if you're here already. Crypto market now in this phase after Ethereum ETFs. I think Ethereum does have a good shot to head higher. I mean, I really do. Thanks for the fallen soldiers, airmen, sailors, and Marines. Yes, I do have a lot of friends, and you know, my family has actually. My uncle, he passed recently, and he was a big person in Vietnam. He did a ton of tours for Vietnam, and it was really sad to see him go. And it was nice to see a bunch of articles come out about what he did and how he, like, you know, saved some of his friends and things like that. They went back in behind enemy lines to save one of his friends, and I thought that was just a very cool article. If I can find it, I might even share it with you guys. But I have friends right now who are overseas, a couple that are pilots and things like that, some that are in Okinawa who have to do missions and stuff over towards Taiwan. So keep everyone in your prayers, in your thoughts. If you're an atheist or something like that, hey, keep them in your thoughts. Keep the good vibes. Even if you don't believe in it, positivity can spread even if you're just thinking about it, right? So here we go. I'm going to put up those weekly ranges. Weekly expected moves. All right, let's get those up today. We'll do May 28th, because technically it starts on the 28th, right? And I believe it goes till May 31st. All right, there you go. So these will be up today. Get these on your charts. That's all we're going to put today. Keep it simple. Charts, get them on there. Right, so if you're part of the Patreon, you got to get those up on your charts right now. This is a good opportunity. You have a little bit of time this morning if you're showing up to the live. Get these on your charts. That has just been posted. We are going to pin that to the top so you can see it. Boom, we're pinned. Everything is good to go. All right, that's been pinned. How are you guys doing this morning? There's a lot of options, open interest at that price. Yeah, 1100. So what we could do is look through some Max Payne today for some fun. I think that would be a little bit of fun we could have this morning. But if you pull up Max Payne, you are definitely correct. I was looking at Max Payne on Thursday, actually. Or actually, I believe it was Friday while we were live. And I was just like, yeah, 1100 is an area that last week people were trying to call out. And I'm guessing this week is going to be the same. So don't think that this can't continue. It's going to continue as long as people keep trying to short it. We do have a huge amount of call volume up at 1100 and at $1,020. $1,020. So if we do see a dip down, I don't believe this has the biggest range. We don't have a ton of implied volatility for this week, which is interesting with that CAT system going on. So, but overall, you can just see it on the Max Payne list right here. What are we noticing? 531 expiration. We have huge amounts of call volume. So if this, there's a couple ways to read into this. If there's a huge amount of call volume, that can be a bullish sign. Now, this could be a bearish sign. Why? Well, if you're a contrarian, you'd say that's a lot of bullishness. And I would say this: if this is retail, then this is bearish. If this is rich people, then it's bullish, right? That's what I would say at this point, because that's what's been happening in the market for the last few years. Probably the last like 20 to 30 years, honestly. I tried to buy the course, but my payment wouldn't process. I tried 3 different credit cards with no success. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I can't really like help with much like that. I want to figure out how we could get that to you, but there's not much I can do on that side. I would try to message their help center if they are. I know that they are very lagging behind. They take sometimes like a day or so. Just I would say keep trying to make sure to check your credit cards and make sure you're not getting like double charged or anything like that. It could be something simple. It literally could be like you're accidentally using the wrong billing address. I do that all the time to Booster. I do that all the time, but Elon Musk buy 100,000 chips from Nvidia. And like I said, Nvidia, yeah, it's not a bad company by any means. We talked about this on Saturday. I was like, yeah, this could see a significant drop. I think it will see a significant drop, just like everything else. But that doesn't mean it's a bad company. It's just the time of the economy. It's the time of what's going on. It's the timing of recession and things like that. So I don't think it's anything like, this is a terrible company, oh, run away. No, I think this is just like, okay, this is a time where we're probably going to see some weakness because we were paying attention to XLU. I highly encourage you, if you haven't already, to go watch Saturday's video. We talk about XLU, and just to do it briefly here, the crash signal, I know we've mentioned it multiple times, but it's always good to just keep refreshing yourself, right? Stay on your toes, because if we do see a little bit of weakness, well, then we usually come up like this and create some kind of double top or some kind of divergence, and the market does that as well. So the market does that, makes a higher high, and then XLU, when that actually does confirm, that's when we actually do see continued weakness in the market. Nvidia bounce is too correct. Only question is when. Yeah, and I think it will correct, but now you're at a time where you're seeing crash signals, so you have to say that correction could be a little bit more than we kind of think could happen. So what I think might end up happening here is people don't realize, maybe we do something little like this and people don't realize like, hey, we're crashing. And that's why I think we're going to get a bear market, because I think people are addicted to the buying of stocks right now, right? I think we'll get stuff like this, where we get these big bear market bounces right in these areas where it goes up by, say, 20, 30%. and then people are convinced, oh yeah, this is it, this is the bottom, and it tears back down. We had a lot of that mentality, not necessarily on Nvidia, but we had a lot of that mentality back during the last big correction. So you see these big squeezes. Okay, so this is where and this is what we were talking about on the course. If you want to see, this is the areas we were talking about, the all-time high back in 2022. And then we were talking about some sections over here in October where we found the bottom, and there were some great things to look at throughout that. But this is where I made so much, like this is where I really do love when volatility is higher, because I get to use that strategy to its fullest. Profit taking, yeah, I think what you can pay attention to is just like, you know, hitting 1,000. I think I've said it for a few months. I'm like, I believe once this thing hits 1,000, we're going to end up seeing that rug pulled at some point. They're doing a stock split and people are like, oh, now I can buy it for $105 and then it's going to go back up to 1,000. If that happened, it would be one of the biggest monopolies. It would be the biggest country pretty much. As far as money value, as far as market cap goes, it would have a bigger amount of money in it than, well, then I believe the United States. If it went from like $100 again and times 10, that would be very interesting, because if Nvidia then falls, you have pretty much everyone in one stock, and if that falls, that's not going to be a good thing. So it's not necessarily the best thing to have all the money in Nvidia at the same time. But we know that the insiders are slowly selling that. Now, this is what I think will end up happening. We're going to see something like this. We talked about that XLU signal up here. We talked about that these signals on how to not get screwed by a trade in the course. So if you're someone who struggles a lot with maybe getting faked out in the market, how to manage a trade, like how I like to manage a trade based on a daily chart, based on a 2-hour chart, based on a 30-minute chart, because those are the charts that I use. We go specifically into how you could not get screwed. You notice this bounce right here probably screwed over a lot of people, and they weren't necessarily wrong. It's just the timing wasn't right. So if your timing was a little bit better and you managed your risk here, you actually could have been in this move again and then saw that big print. So that's overall what we did in the course video. But I think we're going to see something a lot like this soon. I think we're going to see something like this where it's like, oh, it tears down dramatically, and then people think, oh, this is a bottom, and then we get a big bounce, right? We get a big bounce up. Like this bounce right here from this low is a 10%, it's an 11% bounce. I think we're going to see stuff like this happen. We see another downturn like this. We see another big bounce happen that just rips to the upside, another 20, almost 18.5%. All right. And then if we see signals that we're going to base out, we're going to be paying attention to that as well. Around this area, we did have some weekly signals. We had a daily divergence that led to us remaining in positive territory. You see, we never really dip back too far down into negative territory here. We're always able to cross up and go positive, always able to cross up until we remain there, and then we see how we base out and start to go higher. So actually, if you pay attention to that video, it also talks a little bit about profit taking and how sometimes I take profit, right? Sometimes I take profit just if I start to see a signal in the other direction that goes against my trade. I go, well, if I would be bullish here, then why would I keep my bearish trade? And I think that that's a very powerful tool. But yeah, sorry about that, DeBooster. I'm sorry you're having trouble buying the course. I haven't heard anyone else really having trouble buying the course. So I would just make sure your address is updated and things like that. Sometimes, with me at least, on Amazon, I've moved around a couple times and I keep accidentally putting my billing address as my last address. And I have to change it every single time, and I change it on my cards. So I just think Nvidia and things like that, other things that have screamed higher. AMD, I mean, AMD, this one was an interesting one this week. And we called this out as a trap, right? We saw this start to fade, and I said, well, it's probably because people think, hey, AMD hasn't seen that big move that Nvidia just saw. What if AMD's the next one to go to 1,000? That's a bunch of retail maybe thinking, hey, let's buy calls. The algorithm sees puts are cheap, and boom, that breaks down. So this is the type of stuff that will really help you out when you take the course and you look at that last video I just put out. It's under the important additional data. Do not ignore that, or important additional content. Do not ignore that section. It's very important. I think it's one of the best videos I put on the course. Nvidia before or after the split. Well, when does the split take place, by the way? What is that? Monday, June 10th? Is that really June 10th? Okay, June 10th. So what we could see before June 10th is something like this, and maybe June 10th is actually where that is ripped away. We'll pay attention to the signals. It's hard to know before or after. I'm telling you right now that this is the signal we said to pay attention to, a 15-minute divergence. And what are you creating right now? You're creating that 15-minute divergence. So I think that we could see some selling. Now, this could be an interesting week because a lot of the short trading weeks end up just being bullish when you're in a squeeze and they just keep going up like this, and you don't necessarily see a dramatic thing happen. And thank you so much, Fathala, for subscribing to the channel. So this is what I was paying attention to, but now I'm going to get new weekly ranges, right? So these aren't the exact weekly ranges. If you want those, go down on the Patreon. It's $7 a month. It costs you a cup of coffee, and I literally give you an extra video that is not posted on YouTube that shows the weekly ranges. We talk about them, and I give specifics on trade setups that I think are good. Last week we said Last week we said Apple. And we did that during market hours, and right after we posted that video, it was Wednesday around noonish. I think it was like 11 or noon or something like that. And look at that drop that ended up happening. This wasn't based on a 15-minute, but 2.4%. This right here, even if you take out a month out position and that move happens that fast, you could make 100 to 150% in just a day or two. So very, very good. So I would just say this. I'm more Jeep as far as the split goes. I'm going to pay attention to these signals, but I think people might get bullish into the split because people think, oh, you buy it at 1,000 before a split, that's a bad thing. No, it just gives you a 10-to-1 split based on wherever you were able to buy. So if you bought it for $1,000, then you're going to get a 10-to-1 split. So if I bought one share at $1,000, now I'm going to have 10 shares at $100. And that's overall what's going on there. You can see bullishness after that happens. I would just be careful. I think that that could be a slight sell the news event, but we'll have to find out. We just pay attention to the signals. So keep showing up, Jeep. Keep showing up here, and we will be paying attention to the signals, saying what is most likely to happen for Nvidia based on what those signals prove, based on what XLU does. Can you check out MU? Yeah, we can check out Micron for a second. So yeah, this is what today is about, by the way. If you want me to look at some charts, we're just kind of bouncing around looking at some charts since nothing's really going to move. This will be very cool to pay attention to. So what are we noticing? Well, you're kind of stuck within a range and you're just getting fake outs. So really what I like to do when I'm stuck in a range, I like to mark off the low, right? These aren't weekly ranges. Maybe I mark off this closing bars here on the 30-minute and I say, okay, if we can break through that convincingly and hold up there, that's a good thing. But you'll notice this. They're just screwing over people, right? They get the trap, then they bounce it up, they get the trap, then they bounce it back down, take out the, notice this too, they're always taking out the previous low, they're always taking out the previous high, so taking out stops, and then we get this bounce up here, that takes out the stops up here, and then we take out the stops right here by going down to this level. Now, what are we gonna do here? Are we gonna take out the stops above this high and see that ripped away? I'd be looking because this is still not the strongest chart. Let's look at a 2-hour. You just crossed up positive territory. So as of right now for Micron, as of right now, this is bullish. Why? Because I'm in a positive trend, right? We talk about this extensively on the course, which that price is going to go up soon, guys, right? You only have a few more days to take it. It's a great week. A shortened trading week is great. You have a day off today. Hopefully you have a day off from work. I hope you have a great day. But, this overall is what you're looking at, and we might add swing trading to it once we hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. I might add a swing trading portion to it, so you don't have to keep buying more stuff, right? We can just keep getting more and more people involved, and then if I feel like I need to be more specific, I'll make a specific course for it, and I won't. Swing trading is very simple, so I'm not even going to make it like $200. I'll make it a little bit better for you, but make sure to get that because as I start to add more things to it, just know that the value of that is going up. So now the next sale might not be 50% off at $100. I might be charging $400 and your 50% off might be $200. So that's really what you have to look at there. As I add more value to it, the price will go up. Originally, I was saying, I'm going to keep it at that price all the time. But if we add swing trading, that's a whole nother trading strategy, and I would have to charge for that time that I'm putting in. So right here, the 2 hour crossing up, and I put a lot of time into that video last night. Don't think I didn't. I put a lot of time. It's like a 40-minute video going through examples of how to manage your risk during a trade. So right here, what are we noticing? Green impression on the histogram. So this is bullish as of right now. There's nothing bearish about this chart on a 2 hour. There's nothing bearish here. The only thing that's bad is you're getting ripped around a little bit with some fake outs, right? But as of right now, you would say that was able to cross. Notice on this one, it wasn't able to cross. Notice on this one down, right? We weren't able to break down into negative territory. We're not in negative territory. Therefore, we are still in positive trend zone here, right? We're in a positive trend. That just got a green impression. This would tell you that at least these signals right now are telling you that is bullish. Now, if that quickly just turned right back around, went back to red and went negative, then that would be bearish. So if you start to do this, that's where you can get a little bit more to the bear side because you're going slightly more into a negative trend. I hope that was helpful, Sammy. Dell could be a better deal this week. I was like, Dell could be a better Dell this week. I actually think that Dell's going to probably suffer soon, and that's just because of all the divergences up here at these highs. So this is the type of look I would look for, and if you take the course, you can create a range for this week. And let's just be diligent here and say, hey, let's say the range is at this high, because that does happen a lot of the time. Well, what would I want to see? Well, what if this pops up like this and then falls? Okay, so maybe I want to dig a little deeper to find a good position. Maybe I look at a 30-minute, no divergence here, right? We have it on the RSI, not on the MACD. But when you have it on the RSI, but not the MACD at the same time, I like to lean towards a pullback. We talk about that extensively, the significance of divergence section. And what are we noticing right here? We do have it on the RSI, not on the MACD. So I would say, hey, pullback is most likely. Look at this, we're getting some controlled selling. Now, if that popped up higher like this and we go outside of a weekly range and we were covering this stock on Patreon, well, we would say there's a 30-minute divergence and you have a 2-hour divergence at the same time. So if you start to see this cross over and go negative, it's a good shot we're actually going to see a more meaningful pullback. Okay, more meaningful pullback on the 2-hour, which means you could head all the way down towards 145. And then you want to say, do I go on the daily scale? Do I see anything really that bad? Not necessarily. You do have a slight flatness as of right now. You're kind of seeing a divergence across the way here, but you're kind of violating this one. So if you're going to make a divergence from this point right here, it's going to have to be very, very soon as of next week. Good, Sammy. I'm glad that was helpful. Kunik, what do you think about Atlassian? I don't know. I've never looked at Atlassian. Team. Ooh, I like that ticker name. Team. See, this is one where it's cool to find the ones that look a little bit different, right? So usually when we're talking about things and we say, oh, it's bullish or bearish, this is bearish right now, but it is setting up a contrarian bullish signal, right? You have the divergence point over here, but that's not necessarily the best. But we did have divergences down to this level. That confirmed right here. And then look, we got a pop. So now we're creating another divergence, possibly for a double bottom. You still have to wait for these things to confirm. I like to only trade ones that give me stuff on the 2-hour or something like that at the same time. Look at that. You're seeing flatness of the RSI and an upward move on the MACD. So you could say another bounce maybe like this one is coming, or a trend reversal. And I just want to pay attention. Is this actually going to gain some steam here? If that crosses up, I can be a little bit more confident. Maybe I want to dig a little deeper, go into a 30-minute, and you'll see divergences on the RSI, but not necessarily a good one, just a flatness, a little bit up on the MACD. So if this is able to turn up early next week, then we can see a decent bounce. I would say this has the potential over the next week or two to go all the way back up into a source of liquidity. If we're going to see more selling, they might need to grab more sellers, grab more money. And I think that you'd pay attention to this little area right in here, which starts right around 177.96. So if we start to see this 30-minute turnaround, I think we have a good shot to go to 177.96. And then you just want to pay attention. Is the 2-hour crossing? Okay, then we can go a little bit higher. Maybe we test these highs up towards 185. And then if that daily crosses, then you say, okay, this might be a full recovery. I can stay in this move for a while. Why do I give so much preference to the 2-hour time frame? Because that is my trading style. I focus on, I am someone who really, really believes in, and I taught this to, I used to train kids, and actually one of my kids is going to, one of the kids that I literally knew that he would be a pro soccer player. I personally trained him. He's actually playing for, I Oh shoot, what is it? What's the like, it starts with a C, not crimson, not, oh God, maybe it doesn't start with a C. I don't know. It's like an orange paw. Someone's got to know what college that is, the orange paw. But he actually experienced some very bad things. His mom actually died in a car accident while I was training him, and I just could tell that he was going to be a professional player, his attitude and everything like that. But I told him, double down on your strengths. I know that that was kind of an off topic there, Justin, but doubling down on your strengths. I am very strong with a 30-minute. I am very strong with a 2-hour. Clemson, that's it. Clemson. He's playing at Clemson, and he actually committed when he was a junior. So he was insane. I trained him for a little bit, and I helped him with his mentality. And I think that he is going to be so successful because of that, and not because of me. Like, it's all him, right? Even in the course, even in that kind of stuff, when I get an email, I like to throw it back to you and say, you are the ones pushing the buttons at the end of the day. You're the one buying and selling. You're the one managing your risk. So you can say thank you for me teaching you. But at the end of the day, you deserve all the kudos. You deserve all of the good feeling there. So why do I prefer a 2-hour frame? Because I am very, very good at the 30-minute. I'm very, very good at the 2-hour. And I'm very, very good at the daily charts. And I will look at other charts. You know, we go into that in the video I just posted on the course. We went into that a little bit because I look at a 15-minute sometimes. Sometimes I look at an hourly. But overall, I'm looking for these signals on the 30-minute and 2-hour and the daily because I back tested them. They are my strength. And I believe that doubling down on your strength is better than trying to get better at your weaknesses. I think just minimizing your weaknesses and doubling down on your strength is the best way to go in anything. That includes sports, that includes trading, that includes your daily life as well. If I'm very good at mowing the lawn and very bad at keeping up with laundry, then I'm most likely going to mow the lawn and my wife will do the laundry. Does that make sense? You can put it into every asset of your life, by the way. So I'm a very big... I actually got encouraged by a lot of teachers to be a psychologist or be a psychiatrist. And so I do a lot of psychology research just for fun. And the psychology would tell you that doubling down on your strengths is actually a very good thing to do. And then you just try to minimize your weaknesses so they don't affect your strengths. So I stick to my strengths, Justin, and I hope that you're able to understand these charts as well as I am able to, because then you can focus on these things as well. And the good part about just having 3 time frames that you really enjoy, that you really are good at, is you're not going to be in 5-minute charts looking at stuff anymore. You're not going to be looking at divergences in 5-minute charts. All you're going to do is say, hey, if I see a daily divergence, right? If I see a daily divergence on team or something like that, or I see a divergence down here to the other direction, maybe for some kind of bounce, well, now I know what can I go into to help myself out. I can go into a 2-hour, what do I see? I can go into a 30-minute, what do I see? And then I can take one position and manage that position. That somehow is very good life advice. Yeah, so another psychological thing is anything that is true for one area is true for the rest. So that is a good... One of the best arguments is actually for a country. So if you want a strong country, you need a strong core family. And that's why we've really suffered. We've moved away from the core family. And people are very against that and that. But psychology would tell you that if you manage your stuff at home, then that spreads and then your country becomes more managed as well. And that's just one example. If I'm disciplined in soccer, I'm going okay, so in college, I was very, very bad at school in college. I was very, very bad. I was in business school, but I wasn't playing college soccer. I switched and played college soccer. I had a 2.1 GPA when I wasn't playing soccer. When I was more disciplined in playing soccer, it affected the rest of my life, and I became more disciplined in school, and I ended up graduating with like a 3.1 GPA. Going from a 2.1, 1.5 to 2 years into school, and I went from a 2.1 GPA to a 3.1, it is a very big change. Like, it's very hard to make that change. So yeah, it can leak into more aspects of your life. So I would encourage you to, if you want to become a better disciplined trader, I would discipline yourself in the morning, have a morning routine, maybe go to the gym every single day or every other day, or maybe just every single day that you're trading. That way that discipline can leak into the other aspects of your life, including trading. Anybody else have a stock they want me to look at? I'm down to look at some stocks this morning. I got some time. The girls are upstairs. They just woke up. I brought them their coffee. I made a nice coffee for mom this morning, not for baby girl. She is not allowed to have coffee. That girl has enough energy. I don't need her to have any coffee. How's the Qs looking? Oh, sorry about that. Walter did ask for the Qs. Let's look at the Qs. So I do have the daily ranges up as of right now, and you'll notice they're very tight. The implied volatility kind of low this week. So what we were talking about with the Qs was we're paying attention to XLU, seeing if we can see a pullback and then see some kind of bounce. I think that would be good. And we'll talk about GME as well. Okay, we'll talk about GME. We'll get through this list here, Tesla, AMD. We'll look at all these. As of right now, you're not bearish, right? You can't be bearish here necessarily. Now you can see a crash signal and take a trade because of that, but you want to manage that because the signals here are not bearish by any means. You're still holding the 5-day moving average, right? My red line here is the 5-day moving average. We're still holding that. We haven't crossed on the MACD, and where are we? Positive territory. We've been in a short squeeze ever since we called it, right? We said when volatility cracked through, when we get above this high, we're going to have a short squeeze. We said that for multiple days in a row. And then once that actually started, I keep hitting the home button. Once that actually started to happen, boom, what do we get? We got a short squeeze. Okay, so right now, this is not bearish by any means. You need to see this cross down. You need to see some weakness overall in this move. Now we can go into shorter time frames, a 2-hour, and you could say, what's this doing? It's starting to get close to negative territory. So you're starting to create little divergence here on the RSI, but I like those to be at the same time. So some kind of pop up would be very cool because that would actually give me a signal that looks contrarian, bearish in a bullish trend right now. And then what can happen from that move? Well, that's when we can actually maybe pop up a little bit and actually go negative. You have to go negative to be bearish, right? I need my signals to actually switch into negative trends. So if we want to dig down a little deeper for the Qs on the 30-minute, and yes, these are the updated daily and weekly ranges if you want to get those up early and do some work around them, right? So what would we want to pay attention to right away early on in the week? Well, we want to see if this 30-minute can go negative. Now, I don't think it will. I think if it does pull down, it depends. It depends if the AMC GME thing actually does happen. And thank you, Gordon. We can go over the SPY as well. It's going to be similar to the Qs, but we can go over the SPY as well. So right here, what do we notice? Well, we do have divergence right there. We have divergence across the way up here. We have divergence all across this. So this does not look strong from the momentum perspective, but it's still in bullish context. Until we really roll over and actually see this go negative, we can't really talk too bearish about it. Because even if this rolled over and went negative here, the 2-hour is still positive, the daily is still positive and not crossed over on the MACD. So do you see how we have to really watch the shorter time frame and then kind of make it level up over time? We got to be like, is the 30-minute bearish? Okay, cool. Now if I want to keep this trade, the 2 hours to go bearish. Okay, cool. If I want to keep that trade, I got to see the daily go bearish as well. Yes, I have started to buy UVXY. So that's the one I've scaled into. I'm still prepared as of next week to scale in one more time. I think we have another upward push that could happen. But we'll find out. Just because I think it could happen doesn't mean it has to, right? That's something I like to say all the time. Just because you think something can happen doesn't mean it has to. And that's why that video on with the course right now, it's so good. Because when you convince yourself, oh, this has to happen, and then you see, how to manage that trade starts to go wrong on you, yeah, you might take a loss, but we talked about the mentality in that as well. I encourage people to celebrate when they take a loss and then they're being risk managed. I actually do encourage you to celebrate that because it is a big moment. You could have lost, like if I have $10,000 in a play and I lost $2,000 and my risk management's telling me to get out and I get out, damn, I lost $2,000. And then the stock goes up and I could have lost $10,000. It's like, you have to really start to think of it like that and be like, I'm beating them every time. They want to take $10,000 from me, and I'm not letting them. I go into it a little bit further and a little bit more emotional in the course video, but highly encourage it, guys. It's just that video alone is probably worth $100. I'm being genuine. That video I made yesterday, I talked to my wife about it. I was like, I just put out one of the most powerful things that is going to help so many people. I literally ran up to her room after I was done filming, and I was just like, look, her room, our room. And I was like, look, this thing is so good. It is so good. I was like, I think that if people would take this, they would be so surprised how good they can be at trading. You're being a good trader if you're risk managing. Now, inverse ETF, I'm taking volatility plays as of right now for some kind of big volatility pop. I'm still scaling into that move. I'm not doing it with options. I'm just scaling into it because I think, things can be manipulated for the next couple of weeks. So I want to be able to not lose a ton on that move. And then once I see the bigger signals start to tell me how I can get screwed, that's when I'll be out of those positions. So for the Qs here on the 30-minute, you do have a small range going into Monday, very small range compared to what we've had lately. 459.67 to the upside. We have 456.23 to the downside. So I maybe could see something like this. Just remember, anytime we see this happen, that doesn't mean it's bearish yet. It means it has the potential to be bearish. It is slightly bearish, right? But overall, it's more bullish still than it is bearish because what? We're in positive territory. So we could just see some kind of reaction down, see that curl right back up, and look at this. Boom, the craziness can continue. Don't let them fake you out. And this right here is where that risk management portion will really help you out when you take a trade. Okay, let's go through GME. So GME, we actually gave you the ranges on Patreon for GME. GameStop here. And the cool part about GameStop was you're probably looking at this and you're going, it doesn't look the best. I pointed out the 30-minute divergence here. The 30-minute divergence is something that we talked about when this overall big push happened. I go, what if it makes the 30-minute divergence down in these areas, right? That would be very cool, but we know this stock is being suppressed. We know if you do your research that there are short sellers, naked short sellers in this stock, and that cat system might throw them for a loop, but also the FINRA T+1, so now they're not going to have as much time. They have to settle those trades a little bit sooner, and they'll have to prove that they have the shares because of the CAT system. So you're looking at a time where you might see short sellers have to buy the underlying stock if they're naked, right? Well, not if they're computer naked, if they're naked short. So if they don't actually own the stock in order to short sell it, then they will have to buy the stock in order to not get in some kind of trouble, right? So we were pointing out the 30-minute divergence, and this is where live I was like, this is what could happen for GameStop. And then it's funny because after hours, if I put on the extended trading hours, look what ended up happening, right? Look what ended up happening after hours. Boom, a big push up here. I believe it was something like 12% or something at one. Oh no, it was 28%, 32% on the day from the low from Friday. Okay, so from Friday, we're looking at boom, that thing just starts to head up. So something to pay attention to here. This might be the start of something very, very awesome for GameStop, very, very awesome for AMC. But I just want to know in the chat, does anyone know what happens if we see a short squeeze here? If the naked short sellers have to cover, and that is very dramatic, and GameStop actually does go to $400. Do you guys know what happens in the overall market? I just want to see if anyone knows what happens in the market. I've said it a few times, and I want to see if people are paying attention. What would happen in the market if we see this actually happen? Crashes. Yes. Okay, good. So we are paying attention. So now it doesn't have to necessarily be a crash, but they will be liquidating. And if the problem is very, very bad, which it is believed to be worse than the last time it happened for GameStop, then we can see a dramatic crash. Now, someone might be watching the stream right now going, wait, why would GME and AMC going up dramatically in a short squeeze cause the market to crash? Well, it's because these people, I just said, they have to buy the underlying stock. They need to buy those shares so they don't get in trouble. The T+1 and the CAT system, I highly encourage you to go do some research today as you do have a kind of Monday off for the stock market. And what would happen here is they need to get cash. They need cash in order to buy all of these, especially if they have to continue buying above levels of like 200. They're going to need cash. So what are they going to sell? They're going to sell Nvidia. They've already sold out of Apple and Tesla for the most part. Those two are kind of leading the downside. And I believe that's what the overall market should be doing over the last few months. But just because I believe it doesn't mean I trade that way, right? So they have to liquidate in order to get cash in order to buy these underlying stocks so they don't get in trouble. They can lose their license and things like that. That's why trading is the path and long-term holding stocks is a bit foolish. Well, I mean, investing, the thing is, people talk about investing and act like, oh, it's a lot safer and people shouldn't be trading. I mean, I still invest as a trader, right? So you want to know why I'm not invested in pretty much anything at this point. And look at this wick, by the way. This wick right here is a pretty good sign that GME is probably going to see some kind of pump this week. Pretty good sign, because usually you don't see a wick like that big. And we know that that was short sellers covering positions, because that dramatic move up, initially that was the retail, and then I believe the short sellers had to gain back a position just in case. So the funny thing about this is, when you actually want to go long and when you want to go short, as far as an investment goes, you would probably say not when something like this is forming, not when I have weekly divergences or anything like that in individual stocks. And look at this, it's just not good. Right. So what you would more so say is, oh, I want to invest when I cross up on the MACD at lower levels in positive territory, at lower levels in positive territory, or even in negative territory. Maybe that's where you start to, buy with 20% of your money with every little upward move. So you can still invest using trading, like using the things you use for trading. You just want to go out to like a monthly or a weekly scale. So now, as far as investment goes, I would just say if I have a job and I can't pay attention to charts very often, I would do a monthly investment portfolio where I look at a monthly chart, I buy at these levels, and then I just, hold it for 10 years. And then once I see a bad signal, like right here, you notice before the COVID crash, what do we notice up in this area? Well, the RSI creating some kind of flatness up here on the MACD, but the RSI pointing really down here. Okay, pointing really down here, we get a big red bar. If you go into a weekly chart, you would have been out of this, and you would say, okay, now the weekly chart's turning back up. Okay, I'm back into this. Now the weekly chart's turning back down. If you pull up a weekly chart here, you're going to see a lot of divergences. Okay, so what do we notice? At this level right here, we had a weekly divergence. So this is what I would be paying attention to from the investment side. Divergence at the same time. This bar right here tells you, hey, there's no reason to take upside as far as a trader goes, so why would I invest here? 275, we go all the way down to 235. Then we see that bounce back up. You could say, okay, now I could maybe invest some of that money. Okay, boom, we go positive. Maybe you get tricked out by this, but it's not oversold or overbought divergences, so I wouldn't be tricked out by that. And then we see a big upward push. We get a slight thing here. So this is where, as an investor, I'd go, hey, this is very overbought. I have a little divergence here. Maybe I want to look for a daily signal here, and that's how I would do it. And really, it just means like, hey, you just have to pay attention to stocks like once every month, like once a month, you could pull up those charts. Very cool though. So for the SPY, you're still looking for similar things. The daily to crossover, it's still in bullish context until it's not, right? So we have to pay attention to when the signals actually flip. They haven't flipped yet. You're still, overall, you're bullish. And then if we go into a little bit lower, 2 hour, look at this. This is right by the center line. So if we curl up this week, we have a shortened trading week. If they want to manipulate the thing and fake people out, because everyone's thinking there's going to be a crash with FINRA and the CAT system, what if they just pump it for a week and then they drop it off next week? That's what we're paying attention to here. That's why we're looking at XLU as well. So you don't necessarily have a solid 2 hour divergence here yet, but we don't have to get one. That's why I'm scaling into UVXY at this moment. And then if we want to go into a 30-minute, you can see this as well. This one here says if I curl down, I'm going negative. It's kind of right in the middle. So this is where it's like, hey, Monday could be 50-50. We curl up, we go positive. I think you're probably going to see a little curl down and then see that ripped back up. And we'll pay attention to the put call volume because, and also I'm going to contact Bookmaps because they emailed me asking for some kind of collaboration. And I just want to see if they have good order flow, if we can see how many shorts or puts or calls are in a stock or in the SPY at any given time. I think that would be very powerful because we know the algorithms are rigged against us. So if we see a sell-off signal and people are still trying to short it, well, then calls are going to be cheaper than puts and the stock's going to continue to go up. And I think that could be very, very useful. Outside the regular trading hours, well, usually the volume in the regular trading hours is low, and that's why, like, over weekends and stuff like this, I don't really pay attention to those because, one, for the most part right now, I'm doing options. Now, my UVXY play is not in an option play. I'm not really in any option plays right now. I think I have one for AMC for the end of the month in case something crazy happens, and then holding that bad boy with the rest. Now, as far as it goes, though, the volume will be lower, which means the stock can be manipulated even more. So that's why, when GME did see that big push, you actually saw that open up higher because that thing trades in after hours too. So the volume can be lower, which can affect the price of the stock. That's overall what can happen besides regular trading hours. I still believe in regular trading hours, though, just so you know. I still trade based on regular trading hour charts. I don't necessarily take that into consideration. Because you got to think, like market makers and things like that, they're doing options, and options are not in the extended hours. They open up during regular trading hours, unless there's some dark pool shit. All right, let's see here. Got an interesting one for you, and I think we need to go over Tesla real quick first. Let's go over Tesla real quick first. Tesla right here, we were talking about how I think it was the 2 hour crossing over. If this could go negative, we were like, ooh, if this breaks this trend, it could be bad. Notice this, we get faked out. We weren't able to fully go negative. This is what the course video I just put out would save you from. It would tell you how to know to get out of this move a little sooner, because now you're about to cross up on the 2 hour. So if that crosses up on the 2 hour, positive territory, no reason to take downside until we see that fall back down. So on the 30-minute, we can dig into this a little bit. If it is going to cross over right now, that would be a good sign. But notice this, we crossed up. We're pretty close to the center line right here on this bar. So this bar right here told me like, hey, yeah, most likely we're going to see some kind of bounce, a bigger one than what we got already. But this here, if this can curl down, you can continue that negative trend, meaning test the low, go make a new one. The ranges just this week are not that big, which is interesting. Scar King, welcome. Good morning. We're just talking about stocks, having some fun. But Tesla overall on the daily scale, like this is one we talked about on Saturday. If this could curl over and go negative, that would be a very bad sign. This would be a very bad sign for Tesla, because you notice what happens when we go negative. Ew, we went negative over here, right? Kind of remained in a negative trend forever. We didn't even try to go positive. Oof. Ever since we went negative, how far down have we come? Well, let's see. We went negative right on this bar here. So we'll take the next one. We'll take the low of the next one. And we went down 41%. 41% in about a little over 3 months. So that's what can happen in negative territory. That's a negative trend. And I'm saying, hey, we're still close to there. So pay attention to weakness here. It can go the other way, but we just want to pay attention to if our signals are turning up into positive territory and stuff like that. So 2 hour, if this turns up, then you would say, hey, the direction for right now is up, right? Positive trend, positive price action. But if this would pop and then drop immediately and this crosses back down, well, then you would say, uh-oh, if we go negative, that's not looking good. Lurkin Luke, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, what was the next one we wanted to look at? It was AM Dizzle. AM Dizzle. So this right here, what are we noticing? No real 2 hour divergence. Yeah, you had it on the RSI, not necessarily the MACD. Leads towards pullback, blah, blah, blah. Now, this is one that we mentioned, hey, calls. People probably tried to front run this with a bunch of calls because Nvidia just had good earnings. They're like, so AMD has to go up. Algorithm, the market maker, aka the market maker algorithms. And if you guys want me to remember this again, I'll say it again. The market makers, Citadel, he came out and said they hired rocket scientists to come out and create their algorithms. So now the algorithm pretty much knows exactly how to screw you over. So that's why you need to probably take that portion that I just put out in the course. And please, if you could, if you have taken that portion, if anyone who has taken the course already, please let me know what you liked, or not necessarily what you liked about it, but just if it was helpful. Do you think it is helpful for your trading? Do you think you will utilize what I said in that video? How helpful do you think it is, maybe on a scale from 1 to 10? Okay, so what do we notice here? Curled down. Okay, so we got the rejection, but as of right now, where are we? Well, we're still in the 2 hour in positive context, maybe about to cross up into positive territory. Okay, so we could see some positivity here, right? When people think, oh, this is bearish, what does the algorithm do? Everyone takes shorts, boom, starts to go up. So the algorithm knows how to ruin you here. We want to look at a 30-minute. This thing is interesting because the 30-minute not necessarily telling you too much here, just saying, hey, I do have the potential to roll back down and go negative, but I am positive right now. but I am positive right now. So it's like, if I'm going to see weakness, I need to pay attention if this 30-minute goes negative. If I see positivity, then I want to make sure that 2-hour is crossing on that MACD. Kind of, it could go both ways on this one. That's more so here. It's pretty much a 50-50. You have a 2-hour that could cross up. You have a 30-minute that could cross down. Now, if the 30-minute crossed down and did something like that, created a divergence, then we could say something going on here. Then we could be really convinced that that 2-hour is going to cross back up. And remember, this isn't a daily range or anything like that. I should probably change this to white. This is just a support level we've paid attention to for a very long time. And you notice this, we weren't able to close below it on this bar. We gapped above it over on this bar. We went up to it for resistance. We broke down dramatically through it. We tried to hold up there. Like, it's been such an important level that I wouldn't be surprised if this drops down, creates a divergence, then we bounce right back above it. Okay, what else do we got? I want to make sure to get through ETF position, got an interesting point. You put SMX. SMX. Let's take a look at SMX. Security matters, guys. Okay, this one saw a big pump. So is this one of the like shorted stocks? First of all, I have to know if it's a shorted stock. Because if it's a shorted stock, we have to think about it a little bit differently, but we can still do good habits, right? We can still do good habits. I like my 30-minute, but if we're going to see craziness early this week, 15-minute, if we see some kind of drawdown that crosses right back up, you can look at a 15-minute if you're going to see crazy price action like this and just see if that crosses up, take a chance on it, boom. If that crosses right back down, you got to stay risk managed, and that video I just put out is going to help you with that on the course. So this one here, it doesn't look bad by any means. Like, that looks like it's squeezing. But just know this you can tell I'm using my old mouse now because everything's scrolling funny. So what we want to see, at least we need a bullish thing to happen in order to get bullish, right? And this is still in bullish context, but it has a bearish contrarian move happening right now. So if this is going to dip down or cross up around this area, I'd really like to see this happen, confirm that move higher, and then I can take a play with it, and then I can manage that trade. Now, managing a 15-minute, you usually want to look for a 5-minute, look for divergences or any kind of crossover in negative territory. But the 30-minute here, if this wanted to break down a little bit further, well, then you'd like the previous lows, maybe the closing bar at 13.6 cents. And then we see that pop back up. Okay, that would be curling down to the center line and curling back up. So, and the good part about just being a good trader is if these signals don't even happen and we just start to rip to the upside, just still practice good habits, okay? You don't want to try to YOLO into anything. I know a lot of people are losing money right now with FFIE, right? This one here. Why? Because you guys, if you're not early in these moves, then you do not want to buy up in these levels, right? You still want to pay attention to these same things. So what would we be saying about, we'll say Faraday? What do we want to pay attention to here? Well, what do we notice? Okay, the 30-minute just crossed down. So if the 30-minute is crossing down, would you say the stock is going up? No, we would not. We would not say that. So why would we take any kind of call play? Now, if you're scaling in and you just want to hold it in case something crazy happens, I get it. I get it, right? So what would happen here? Well, I need the 30-minute to cross up. Okay, so this right here would have made more sense. Right here makes more sense to try. But you got to manage that and make sure it is going positive. Did it go positive? No, it didn't. Now, is it trying to go positive at this moment? Yes, so this would be the next time. So if you really wanted to say, hey, I'm trying for this trade, I would probably have done, this is what I would have done. I would have entered. Okay, I see a red bar here. I exit. I see a green bar at the end of the day. I enter again. And now I say, okay, maybe we can go positive here. You need to go positive, though, for stocks like this. And I'm just seeing a lot of people, like I like to follow the Reddit people. And I'm seeing a lot of people being like, I've lost everything. I put $20,000 into Faraday at $3. And I'm like, well, then you need to learn. Like, just because you have money and you pop into the stock market and everything's going up doesn't mean you're buying at the right time. Oh, Salesforce. I don't remember the tickle for Salesforce. Salesforce. It is CRM. Okay. Salesforce here before earnings, right? So anything before earnings, we do not really pay attention. Like, not really before earnings, but at earnings, we're not really liking that, okay? As of right now, what are you? You're bearish, okay? This is a bearish looking chart. Why? We are in negative territory. Now you're trying to go positive, but notice we just flip back into negative. You can see how tight that is, but we flip back negative here on the MACD. RSI made that move first, right? So RSI, the leading indicator, told you downside, and then the MACD is confirming that. So if you see another break of this low, you can probably look out for some kind of support. I would say down here towards 248, 249. This level right here could be important. Now, you are within liquidity here and you have a 200 here, so you could just see a reaction to the 200. If you see, when's the earnings? Yeah, the earnings is too close around the corner for me to really trade anything based on this. But if you could see some kind of divergence like this, maybe a 2 hour and a 30-minute, the only way I would trade in earnings is if I saw a golden setup. We give you the golden setup on the course, and links down in the description. And I think the course, by the way, says 200 in the description, I think. God damn it, I got to change that. But overall, if you see a golden setup before the earnings, then it's like, okay, I would even maybe take a play on it. But if I'm not, then I'm not going to even play a 30-minute, 2-hour divergence or something like that. I'm not going to even play a daily divergence. Now, you can take a chance with it. Sometimes, like with Apple that last time, I did take a chance with it, right? I told people like, hey, this is one that I would take a chance with, and I thought it was going to be bullish, and it was. And that's good, but it had a triple divergence and a 2-hour divergence at the same time. I just think it didn't have a 30-minute. So that's a pretty dang good probability that you're going to see a bounce. Let me mark that so people aren't confused. The course is not $200 right now. It's $100, and that price is going up at the end of this month. If people, like I said, we're getting some people that are interested in it. I'm getting a lot of emails saying it's helpful. If I keep seeing that sentiment and it is being helpful in a time where, you know, people are trying to buy meme stocks maybe at the wrong time and they need some education, because it seems like a lot of people are just coming in and buying them, you can still look at these meme stocks, which meme stocks, take that with, I'm giving you some air quotes here, because they're just a stock. They're not a meme, right? They're only a meme stock because people make what? Memes when they talk about them. They're a stock. They are a company. They are a real company with real employees, okay? So it is still a real company to invest in, and you still want to practice good habits. I'm just going to switch this over so no one's confused. I'm going to mark this as $100 because I don't want people to be really confused. But how are you guys liking my vibe lately? I'm trying to just tell it how it is lately and be like, you know, I think we're going to crash. I think we're going to do this. Here's what you pay attention to. I'm trying to be a lot more direct. Just change this real quick. As of right now, that is going to last until June 1st, guys. June 1st is going to be the last day to get that course for the discount. Literally just $100, and I guarantee you that last video I put out is worth $100. All right, give me 2 more seconds here. Let me flip back over to my other premium. I don't like to be on my... There we go. All right. We're back. So just if you're looking at something like this before earnings, just know that one of my notes is I do not trade around earnings. It's a 50-50 flip. Unless I see a perfect setup, I will take a small play. Even if I see the perfect setup, I'm going to take a very small play because you guys know how Zillow treated me. I ain't doing that again. I'm not, because I have a lot more money to lose now than $6,000 to $8,000. Now it could be a lot more than that, so I'm not going to play around with that. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for liking the video, by the way. Everything can be traded, exactly. You can still practice good habits on AMC, on GME. And speaking of AMC, let's look at that, because AMC, still this, I want you guys to make sure to think about this. The daily still positive, not crossed on the MACD, first of all. We talked about the 15-minute. Let's talk about the 30-minute. We can talk about the same things. Remember, the same rules apply to every single chart. To every single time frame, the same rules apply. So what did we need in order to go higher here? Well, back up in these areas here, we called out the 437 level. We went down to 437 level. Now we're kind of flagging or in some kind of channel. We're holding up higher. That is the main thing to go over right now. Do you think above 550 target? I think it will hit there eventually, but I think it might be manipulated, right? Everyone's expecting it to happen this week. So usually when everyone expects it, it doesn't happen. Now we did see some upward price action. in the after hours, but I think that ended up slightly fading. So you actually went up to 525 in the extended hours on Friday. Very, very cool to see that. I was watching it for a moment. But the regular trading hours here, what are we paying attention to? Okay, it just crossed up and went positive. So that pop higher makes total sense. That pop higher in the extended hours makes total sense. As of right now, in the regular trading hours, you have a green bar, right? We're in positive territory, and this is where that moment can happen. Now, that can easily just flip right back over. That can easily flip right back over, right? So I'm not going to be saying this has to go up until I see all the signals, which right now I'm seeing a lot of the signals, but I need a confirmation on the 2 hour on Monday or on Tuesday. I need a confirmation that this is going to see some strength, okay? We need a confirmation. We need to break through resistance. We need to break through resistance, and overall 739, I think, is the main level you have to break through. But I think it's got a good shot this week. But if everyone expects it, sometimes it doesn't happen. Could be different, though. The signal's telling you 30-minute crossed up. Trading a lot higher in the EU market. Yeah, they are. But the amount of, I think it's like the volume in the EU market's not as high. But I don't know specifically too much about that, by the way. I'll admit that. You know, if I don't know about something, I will tell you. I'm not going to tell you something that I don't fully know. Because how does that help you? That's pretty much me guessing. But I did look at some videos where they were saying the volume in the European markets wasn't the highest, but it is holding up higher. The main thing you have to know about this is the short sellers want you to buy coins. They want you to buy crypto. They want you to buy the AMC crypto. They want you to buy the GME crypto. They don't want you buying the stock. So what should you do? You probably should buy the stock is more what would hurt them, is how I'll put it. The stock is more what would hurt them. The coins aren't going to hurt them at all. If anything, they can manipulate the coin to steal your money and then go buy more short selling positions and suppress the stock even harder. So AMC, as of right now, AMC tomorrow, I would have to say is going to be bullish, right? The charts are telling me I have to be bullish because this is in positive territory. I got green bars on the histogram. We've crossed on the MACD. RSI is above the center line. So I have to be bullish going on into Tuesday for AMC. But I can quickly turn back to bearish. You need this to go way up into positive territory. If this just does this and fades back down, bearish immediately. Wouldn't out the money calls? Yes. So right now you have a lot of out of the money calls around, I think GME had them around 20. And what did we do? We just spiked above 20 in the extended hours. They can cause a squeeze, yes. As long as that volume is going to cause the stock to, pretty much anything that can cause a stock to hold up higher will make short sellers have to sell their position because they're losing, these people aren't dealing with $100,000 like some of us are. They're dealing with potentially I've heard that they're dealing with maybe even $100 billion in just GME and maybe AMC as well. And apparently they've lost something around $16 billion altogether in the last week and a half, 2 weeks. So that would tell me if I'm a rich guy and I have $100 billion and I just lost 16% in 2 weeks, that's going to hurt a lot more, especially just because of the billion, right? The billion. If I lose 16,000, I'm like, shoot, that hurts me really bad. But am I going to really just think of the emotional standpoint of being like, I just lost $16 billion. 16% sounds the same, but when you say billion, it sounds a lot worse. Thank you, Gordon says, very good. Everything can be traded. I'm assuming you were talking about the meme stocks. Nvidia hit 1105 in European markets, and I think it could still go to 1100. It was manipulated on Friday, but it just depends. It depends on what the positions look like. You notice we still have puts going up, so the likelihood that we actually keep squeezing is a little bit higher here. Where's my max pain again? Let me take a double look at that for Nvidia. Oh, Nvidia. There you go. Well, refresh. Oh, fuck. Okay, the website's broken right now. It won't load any of the data. Yeah, the whole thing's like busted. All right, well, my Max Payne got busted. Oh, that's annoying. I don't like when things don't work. I've been addicted to everything working within 5 seconds, even though when I was younger, we had to wait for the before I could load a page. Anybody remember that? Thank you guys so much for like the stream today, guys. Really like the stream because, you know, we're not going to get as much people in here. So remember, if you want to contribute back to the channel, if you find this information helpful, just the little things do matter. Liking the videos every single time does really help us out, helps us grow, and helps us get this information to more retail traders. 56K modem here back in the days. Hell yeah, dude. Oh my gosh. I was lucky enough. My dad has owned a computer recycling company for a long time, so we actually didn't even have the dial-up for very long. He was like one of the first people because he was connected with a lot of that world. We had like dope Wi-Fi, so everyone wanted to come over to my house. I tipped the bartender via your donation link. Figure you get more of it than via YouTube. Yes, YouTube. If you donate on YouTube, I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. I love that it pops up in the chat, and I will never tell you not to. It's your money, but just know that YouTube takes like, I think like 35 to 40%. They told me they only take 20%, and then I go look at the math, and every $20 donation, sometimes a $20 donation, sometimes, being genuine here, sometimes, I don't know why, but sometimes if I get a $20 donation on YouTube, I only get $11. And then sometimes I get $13.50. So I don't know what the math is there. But thank you so much for the donation. I really do appreciate it. And we got new Patreon members as well. That is awesome. Love to see people joining the Patreon. Remember, we're giving out those weekly updates now. So weekly updates will be there for you. Every single Tuesday or Wednesday, it's a video where I go into the actual analysis. And thank you so much. Thank you, Gordon, for the $10. Just saw that come in, so thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. All righty. I like to make sure to thank you every single time. Oop, I accidentally glitched this for a second. Nvidia check. All right, let me go. Well, I need to see if that Max Payne can load. It started to glitch. I don't know why it's glitching. This is overall, though, what I was talking about. Why people could say, like, oh, this weekly bar looks like, I'm just going to say it again. Doesn't this weekly bar look like the most bullish thing in the world? It's crossing up on the MACD. We can't ignore that. But what if it just creates a small divergence here? I think this is going to fade in the next 2 weeks. And I said this was going to fade the day of, and it fades. But then people try to short it up above 1,000, and then it goes right back up. We talked about that as well. So a 30-minute divergence would be nice here. Just a little 30-minute divergence that confirms. You want to get a little tighter, a 15. But notice this, the 15 curled up. So the overall reason I was like, it's not as bullish looking as you think, because this is just like, this looks like algorithmic buying. It really does. Like if I just take a line here and go like this, and I just clone that, you're just going up in like a pretty much almost straight up channel. So you're just going like this. That's usually not retail causing that type of behavior. Be out of Nvidia at 1180. If you want to know the exact level to get out of Nvidia, you can just join the Patreon and look for that weekly expected move. Looks like Nvidia, yeah. I mean, 1180 would make sense. But it really depends. I mean, if that's your line in the sand, that's awesome. And then I would also have another line in the sand the other way. That's something that I was going to talk about as far as maybe adding something to the course as far as like, you know, when I am green, when do I know to like fully get out or fully get out if I start to see a dip? And the overall conclusion I gave one person who emailed me after taking the course because I do answer emails. I'm not just leaving you in the dust. One of the answers that I did give was something that I've done in the past. Now, I don't necessarily do this anymore because of my risk management. So the risk management will save you from having to do a lot of this. But if I want to, if I'm in the green on a play and I want to see if it can go higher, see if it, and then know when to get out if it goes lower, I'll create two outs. So one will be an upside out, one will be a downside out. And I'll say whether it hits either one of those lines, I'm going to make money and I'm going to be out. If it's going to be a better trade for me and go up, then I'm out at this line no matter what. And I don't even have to look at that stock anymore. I can go look for a different stock, a different trade. I don't care what the price action is there. I only care that I made money in that overall move. Ooh, we got some good Patreon's members coming in. I didn't even see this, but Jason McBride meets Stacks. Stacks came into there. J. Cole, the rapper, and Navid coming in there. So thank you guys for joining the Patreon, and thank you guys for taking the course. We got Stan, David, Hung Fam. Also, that is a fantastic name, Hung Fam. That is one of the best names I've ever seen. And over the weekend, these are the people that took it over the weekend. Martin, thank you so much for taking it, and Leonard, thank you for getting that course as well. I'm sure I missed a couple, but I'm just going through them real quick. Those are the people I'm like, hey, I respect it. Like when I see those names, I get excited because I go, these are the people who wanted to take it using their free time on the weekend. What do I think of Lyft and Palantir? I'll definitely talk about Palantir first. Palantir is one that I have traded in the past. I haven't traded it in like 2 years, I think, though. But what can we see down here? Some divergence forming at these lows. Now, remember, we marked off the fact that 2029 is a very important level. Very important level, okay? So this one here, very, very important to pay attention to. This really, really matters here. We can see if this divergence confirms and goes positive. I would just be very careful with these moves that look good for upside. Now, I'm just going to say this with Palantir. This is a contrarian bullish signal. It is still bearish right now. It is still a bearish signal right now. You haven't turned up. So then you haven't even really gotten that contrarian signal to confirm yet. If you see an update like this, maybe that does confirm, but you want to make sure that goes positive. And the reason I really want you to focus on making sure that goes positive is because you have to watch out for these crash signals like XLU. This just turned down. Yes, you can see a turn up, and this is usually the type of signal that you see before a crash. You'll see a little divergence up here. We talked about it in the Saturday video, but I would be careful taking anything to the upside, just because if this happens, everything can be flipped on its head. And the charts will tell you that. The charts will tell you that. So if you take the risk management section and then you go over to Palantir and you're thinking about, taking a trade based on a daily chart, well, you just want to pay attention to how you can get screwed. That's what the video tells you on Patreon or on in the course. Okay? So it could tell you how you could get screwed. So maybe I just want to pay attention to a 30-minute. If this rolls negative, then why would I go up? Why would I try to take an up play, right? That's what I would think in my head. If this rolls and goes negative, why would I take an up play? Now, if this creates divergence, then I have that opportunity and I can manage that trade. So 30-minute here, it's trying to go positive. It's kind of 50-50. The daily side, you do have some decent divergences. Happy Memorial Day, guys. Happy Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to my pop. He was in World War II. He actually started one of the first telephone companies here in Wichita, and he was a great, great man. He had a family of seven children, including my mother, who was the youngest one, and I was not ever able to meet him. He passed. He had, I believe he had cancer. I don't remember what kind, but might have been prostate cancer. He had cancer before I was born, pretty much about a year or two before I was born. So didn't get to meet him, but I still talk to him plenty. Happy Memorial Day, and thank you guys to anyone out there. Thank you for your service, and thank you for your family service, and I wish them nothing but safety and health. Truly, safety and health in times like these, prosperity, all that good stuff. Now, there was some funky stuff happening with the Nvidia call values. I think it was maybe more Pando or Miles. They took a call, and then that big gap up, they said that their position lost value, which is very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, it's an oxymoron. I get you. I get why you'd think that, but it's still good. It's good to think about everyone as well, and it causes people to get together and have fun and do the things that I think are the best for everyone. I gave everything from the week back on Friday. It sucked. Hey, take it on the chin. Take it on the chin. Here's the thing. Take it on the chin and move forward. That's all you can do, right? That's all you can do. Another psychology lesson for you. Don't focus on anything that you can't change. Can you change the fact that on Friday you gave back all the profits from the week? No, you can't. It already happened. So what can you do this week? You know, really think about that, Ajax. I love the fact that you come into this channel, by the way, Ajax. I'm always excited to see all the regulars come in. We get all the regulars that come in, and I genuinely am like, oh, this person's here. Oh, this person's here. Like, it pops up in my head. And Ajax, you're one of the people that, yeah, I do. I like saying your name. I actually really like your name. It reminds me of the soccer team and things like that. So just think about this. It's not about what happened. It's what can I do from this point forward? You know, what can I change? Because here's the thing. If you get in that negative loop in your head of thinking about that loss, thinking about that loss, thinking about that loss, do you know you actually psychologically put yourself in a higher probability of getting another loss? Guess who's here too? Aaron Blackburn. Actually, Blackburn is who I almost played for in Europe. I got invited to play for their development team when I was 17. I didn't have the money to go. So I could have been a Blackburn player. Their youth team or whatever when I was like 17, I believe. I think I was 17 or 16. But yeah, that's what it really will help you guys as a trader too, just to learn to take it on the chin. You're going to take punches. You're going to take punches. It's not a straight up game. The game is how, it's kind of like that Rocky quote. It's not about how hard you get hit. It's about how hard you get hit and keep going. Because all you can do is focus on what you can actually change. If you sit there and focus on something you can't change, it's a distraction. Don't let it distract you. Don't let it get you in that negative headspace. Remember, turn that negative energy, Ajax, turn that negative energy into a positive thing. See what you did wrong last week and just be like, okay, what did I do right last week? Because obviously you made money. So maybe we need to talk about that. What did you do right last week? Because you made money in the beginning of the week. What did you do right? Can you just do that more often? Or when you were doing that right thing, maybe you tried to do it again, but something was a little different and you ignored it. Don't ignore it. Just keep doing what you did right. If you were making money, you were doing good. That's great. That's awesome. Focus on what you did right. And then see if there was something different if you were trying to do that play again. Was there something slightly different that you missed? And then keep that in your notes. Was I not managing this trade because I got a little cocky? That's happened to me before. That's happened to me before. My wife will tell you. I had a streak. I had a streak once. I shit you not. Where in, I think, a 3-month span, I was 12 for 12 on trades. You know what I did? I got cocky. I put a little bit more money into the 13th trade. And do you know what I did? I lost like 70% of that one value. I lost like a whole month's worth. I had 12 wins in a row, which means I made so much for 3 months. And at the end of the 3rd month, I lost a whole month to month and a half's worth. I lost about half of everything that I made in that 3 months. Ooh, silver. That's right. Oh, we can look at SLV. We can look at silver futures. Ooh, silver. Look at this guy. Damn. Do you think the Nvidia split brings in more buyers? I think that people buy it before the split. If you want my genuine opinion, my opinion is we see the buyers come in before the split, then the split happens, and then it actually dies off a little bit. But what I would also say about that is, can I tell you why? No. I can't tell you why. I do not ever pay attention to fundamentals. Going with momentum is better than averaging down, looking for a reversal. I know it, but I thought all-time high would be a top. Okay, so you tried to maybe trade the, did you do Nvidia IAX? Just let me know. So 4 hour here crossed up, going into positive territory. That's why it goes up. Mark, that's all I care about. That's all I care about. I don't care about why the stock, I don't care about the fundamental reason the stock goes up. I care about what my indicators are saying. If this 4 hour crossed, now I can take that positive play. It's going into positive territory. So the most likely scenario here is we're going to see an upward move for silver. We're going to see an upward move for silver. That's the most likely scenario if this thing gets into positive territory. Let's see. Is it there? Is it there? It's not there yet. It's not there yet. But if this gets one more bar here, this is where I'd be a slightly bullish, contrarian bullish right here, right? Still in a bearish context, still in negative territory, but strong bar above the moving averages, crosses on the MACD, very close to the center line. Ooh, I would say that silver is going to test this high or go make a new one. I don't need to know anything else, because if I know anything else, I can convince myself differently. The only thing I need to pay attention to on this is probably a 2 hour going negative. Right? You see how it's still close to negative. So this is what I'd pay attention to if that 4 hours is going to go wrong on me. It's a little hint of what's going on in the course, guys. This will help you a ton with your profit taking. It will help you a ton with how to not get screwed. The market is built to screw you over. So that is what I put in the course. That's why it's $100 and that's why it's there till the end of the month. I hope that was helpful, Mark. Just know if you follow the signals, you're going to hear about the news tomorrow, Mark. You're going to hear about the news probably tomorrow. If this continues to see rapid up movement, Mark, you're going to hear all the fundamental news tomorrow, and the stock this might be all the way up towards this high, and then you should have got in way down here at this level. That's how I think about it. That's happened to me plenty enough to know that, yeah, sure, I can pay attention to fundamentals, but do I use it when taking a position in any way? No, I don't. I use only charts. Chainlink forming a W pattern on a 2 hour. We'll go look at that real quick. Also, let's look at gold real quick while we're here. Gold, what's it saying? See, now gold, a little bit further away from positive territory here. Silver, remember, I said silver, I think, was the better option on Friday, or Friday's stream. I said, I think silver is the better option here. So what do I want to pay attention to? 2 hours, still negative. So this would be one a little bit scarier to be a contrarian on, right? Because you're further away from that center line. So I would say silver is probably the better opportunity than gold right now. Silver is the better opportunity than gold right now, according to these signals. Can we look at Bitcoin? We can. Chainlink. Is this the grayscale? Is this the one you're looking at? Now, by the way, Drake, it can bring in more buyers. I just think that they'll suppress the stock at first, and then it goes to lower levels. I would say physical gold and silver is better than Bitcoin. Physical gold and silver is better than Bitcoin, because the reason that Bitcoin could be bad is if, say, like, the internet went away. What if internet went away? You can't really get into your wallet. Bitcoin's worthless at that point. What is worthwhile if we get like an EMP or some kind of cyber attack? Gold and silver, physical, because your gold and silver as far as an ETF or something like that. Well, do you really even own that? Do you? Because I don't think you could log in to trade your gold and silver with someone, right? So having the physical gold and silver would be better. Exactly, M7. It can. It really can. Now, do I think everything goes to zero? No. But I am someone who is like a semi-prepper, okay? So we do have rice. We do have tons of canned food and things like that just in case. What's the problem with being a just in case kind of guy? Something bad is going to happen over the next, it looks like over the next 30 days, something bad's going to happen to the market, which means something really bad can happen in the world. Something really bad happens in the world, what could that be? Well, the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum, right before COVID came out, about 12 months before that, or I think the World Economic Forum, about 6 months before COVID came out, they ran a simulation of what the world would look like if a disease spread like wildfire throughout the whole world. And then COVID hit 4 months later. Do you know what they did about 6 months ago? They put out a simulation of a cyber attack and how it could affect the world. What if that would happen? I'm not saying it has to happen, but if you're the person that pays attention to it, then my friend is way more preppy than I am. He's way more of a prepper than I am. And people think he's crazy. But I go, who's the guy you're going to run to if something happens? The crazy guy. And he's not even crazy. He's a very nice guy. He's very awesome. And he just is prepped for any situation. He still works day to day. He has his wife. He has his house. He does everything that he has to do. But he is ready just in case something bad happens. Real quick. The Bitcoin. We said we'd go over Bitcoin for a moment. This one, seeing some positivity, 4 hour here, trying to go negative, not able to do it just yet. So if the 4 hour curls up, you will see a positive move. And most likely you're going to make some kind of more obvious divergence. This doesn't look like the most obvious divergence, right? So 2 hour curls up, positive territories right there. So I'd say if this 2 hour curls up, we probably see a big move. Remember, I've been calling out, I think Bitcoin to about 82,000 was my overall target. Somewhere between 80 to 85,000 was where I thought it could get if we keep being bullish. Now, I've changed on Bitcoin a lot, guys. I've changed on Bitcoin a lot. You guys remember down in this area, I was very bearish on Bitcoin on these bars right here. And look, we saw that downturn, but what happened? We curled up. So I had to change my thinking. We curled up, we went positive. We keep staying positive. We curl down for a moment, we go positive. And now we're starting to get a little closer to that center line. So if we're going to see a dramatic drop for Bitcoin, you need the daily to cross over, and then you need the daily to go negative. Where are we positive? So you have to be positive on Bitcoin. And the 2 hour going negative, sure. On the 2 hour, you could say, hey, right now I can be negative on Bitcoin. Right now I can be negative on Bitcoin, but is that far away from crossing? No. If this crosses up, you're most likely going to see another big move for Bitcoin. Do you think the dollar will go up? I think the dollar will go up. I think it will. The insider selling in here. Now the 2 hour has to curl up and go positive. As of right now, the dollar is negative. That's why I'm kind of like, hey, we could see a further squeeze, and why I think everyone expecting that AMC and GME bounces this week, it might not happen until mid-June. And that's why I was pointing that out with the XLU signal. So all you need to know, it's like something bad is around the corner. It could always be around the corner. And if you're just trading based on the signals, trading like water is very, very good. And we're going to come out with some sweatshirts or something like that soon. Once my wife gets fully settled in here, she's going to work on some art. She's already created one little thing. I think it would just be cool if we can get some little sweatshirts and I could wear them live and we could all wear them while we trade to remind us, hey, we're trading like water. It's a very good reminder, right? If I'm wearing a shirt that says trade like water, you bet your ass I'm going to trade like water when I'm trading, all right? Oh, this isn't open today. The yields aren't moving today. Yields look like they might drop off. And TLT showing the opposite signal on the 30-minute, about to curl up, positive territory on the 2 hour. So why would there be a flight to say, if you break through this channel, something different's happening. Very interesting if we break through this channel. Volatility crossed down on the 2 hour, looking for that to turn right back up. If that turns right back up, this is one that I'm not buying and selling out of because I think it could pop at any time in the next 30 days. So if I see this turn down, I'm going to see if a divergence forms here. If this turns up at any time, I'm going to make my last position in here for UVXY. I'll buy that, see some kind of big pop, and then I'll manage that trade. Trade like shiny silver. Silver has been really suppressed. I'm surprised, like, there you go. There's copper for you. Copper a little bit closer than gold. Copper, a great 4-hour divergence here. Remember, in the future stuff, you like 4 hour, so your 2 hours pretty much like a 30-minute, your 4 hours like a 2 hour, and then we still do the daily scale there as well. But the 4 hour here looks like it's curled up, so a contrarian signal, right? Still in bearish context, but a contrarian signal, a contrarian bullish signal is how I've been labeling it lately. That's the way I like to describe it, in bearish context. Okay, so this still has to go positive. So if you want to see this go up, it needs to really go positive here. Probably close back above this level right here. Let's look at a fun one. Let's look at a doggy coin. The Doge coin, I think, or the Shiba coin, one of the dogs actually passed away. So this here, you had 2-hour divergence that led to a pullback. Let's see if we can make another move higher. Maybe we create another point of divergence, or we break through. So if we break through, what do I need to happen? The 4-hour needs to turn up, but 4-hour divergence looks like you can roll over the daily here. So the daily might roll over. If that rolls over, negative territory there. So it might be over for the Doge. Do we still have a chart for SHIB? Damn, they used to have a... daily scale, you're positive, so a little bit positive context here. Let's see if that move's going to happen soon. Yeah, SHIB went positive. Okay, cool. So a contrarian indication here caused a little bit of a bounce. You got a tiny green bar right before that bounce right here. And we've gone up almost 5% since then. Now we're only up like 4%. I strictly, for volatility, I've focused on UVXY and I play small pops. I play pops in the UVXY because I can just watch volatility. I can watch the market. And when I want to sell that move, volatility is very good at showing you like a 30-minute divergence. And that's usually when I sell that move. So I'll see a big pop on the 30-minute, take a little profit, watch that come down, see another pop. If I see divergence, I'll be 100% out of that play. I like UVXY. Now, it is leveraged, so I don't do an option on it a lot of the time, especially when I'm going to see a big drop, just in case I'm wrong, because the stocks are being manipulated like crazy right now. So I'm not necessarily taking an option play with it. I'm just scaling in, because you're already leveraged 3 times. You don't necessarily want to be leveraged 300 times. Okay, that's when you can lose. At least if you're going to be leveraged that much, just use like literally 10% of the size that you would invest, right? So if I'm going to do $10,000 investing wise, then I'd only put $1,000 into an option play, and you can take like a full month out. Well, China's the one really selling off anything related to America, and they're really just buying, like, they're selling their bonds and they're selling their dollars and trading that into what? Gold and silver. They're buying gold and silver like crazy, which if big boys like Russia and China and all those are starting to buy gold and silver, the physical gold and silver all the time, you might say they know something is coming, or they're going to cause something to happen. And thank you, Gordon. Thank you for saying that too. IAX up at the top there on the chat. It is one of the toughest psychological things. To be making money all week and then lose it in one day. It's a really tough moment, and that's where you have to really bounce back. The cause, we don't know the cause yet. We don't know the cause yet. But the signals will tell you that silver is really pumping up right now, that gold is really pumping up right now. Now, 30-minute, we don't pay attention to too much. 2-hour able to go positive. 4-hour, you're seeing that bounce even higher now. Look at that. So originally up only like 1% when we were looking at it. Now it's almost up 2%. Crossing up. If it goes positive, then that's really where you see the big move. You just have to make sure that 2-hour is not going to roll back down. Because what could happen, we could pop up like this, the 2-hour pulls back, and then we pop up again, and this was a better, or another buy point. That's where we'll talk about swing trading. AVAX. Okay, 4 hour. We don't want to do that. Oh, wait. Yeah, no, it's fine. This is the... sorry about that. This is fine. So the 4 hour curls up and can go positive. That'd be good. You might have divergence here on a 2 hour. No divergence there on a 2 hour. See, usually I can tell when it's right away. Like, you know, you'll see me just click over really quickly if I'm like, yeah, that looks like divergence. This one looked a little shady. So no divergence here for you. Still in negative context. So contrarian signal still saying, hey, I can go positive, but I don't have divergence telling me the momentum has really died out. I didn't get very oversold. So if you're doing this, I would say if the 4 hour curls up, then yeah, take maybe like that's like, hey, I could go bullish, still bearish even if that crosses. But then if that goes positive, then you know it's bullish at that moment. You can test the high, go make a new one. Half the world, I think it's like half the world was stacking 3-4 years ago. They started stacking, and then now it's like every single government is trying to stack gold except for what? The United States. I don't know if the United States can stack gold. We're in such debt. Just know this, if you were in this much debt as the government is right now in the United States, do you think they would give you more money? Do you think they would raise your debt ceiling? Nope. Sounds a little bit rigged. Yeah, CPC printing at 1. So people still trying to short this, which means on Tuesday we could see some kind of, you know, pop and drop, I would say. Yeah, I'd really be paying attention on Tuesday to that upside move. Even if we gap above it, 68% chance to land back in this zone. So if we do something like this, yeah, you can gap above it, use it as support, 2 head higher. But if this gap up causes a ton of retail traders to buy calls, then that would not be a good sign. That would mean they're probably going to rip that away. Drake is LOLing. He's LOLing because he tried to get a loan and he has a good job and isn't in trillions of dollars of debt. And they were like, no, you don't get a loan. You have $5,000 of debt still. Meanwhile, our government can get a loan and they have trillions and trillions of dollars of debt. Ooh, that's a 30-minute signal, though. I don't usually like the 30-minute signals. A 30-minute signal is kind of like almost like a 10-minute signal on these time frames here. But you can pay attention to it right now. If this 2 hour can curl up, positive territory is not too far away. It's a little far away, but not too far away. So if this could pop a little bit higher, contrarian would say, hey, this has the potential to go bullish. It's still in bearish context. Okay, still in bearish context. But if that's able to curl up and go positive, then you can start to say some stuff, right? Now, you have to be a little careful with this. You did have pretty much a double top divergence, and it was pretty damn significant. Pretty much a double top divergence here on the 2 hour, which likes to roll over your 4 hour. That probably already happened, right? So now you could make another point of reference. Make sure you're busting through this level. So I'd just say if you get to here and that 2 hour rolls over, that might crash down, but that could also hold up. So this would be like, hey, profit taking, okay, 2 hour curls back up. All right, cool. Now the upward move can happen. The weekly ranges are kind of wild for AMC. They're small, but they're pretty good size. They're smaller than usual. Last week actually had a bigger range, but you could end up 20% higher on AMC by the end of the week. 2 hour not able to go negative. That is a key thing. If this 2 hour can go positive, I'm pretty convinced. So this is my real confirmation for upside. That 2 hour goes positive, crosses on the MACD. the 30-minute here, already crossed. So as of tomorrow, AMC is in a bullish trend and is bullish. You can't say anything negative about this just yet. Can't say anything negative about this just yet. Now, if this just curled down right away, then you could say negative, but you just want to be flipping back and forth because that moment could happen at any time. And we saw that in the extended hours. We saw that actually prove itself already. So now you're pretty up there in positive territory, but I still like regular trading hour charts. I think these are more valuable. Oh, Gabo, salutation. Silver going to 250 a gram. Oh my goodness. M7's loving this silver push. Loving it. I love that I never just type GC. I always type the full thing. 2 hour hasn't rolled over for gold yet, by the way. You just want to see if this is going to roll over at any time, because look where it is. Still very negative. So still highly probable this is some kind of bounce that could fade until we go positive. How do you use it? You would say, I need to really manage the trade, ER. You have to manage the trade more if you're going to use the actual strategy in some kind of environment like we're in. You're going to take a lot quicker profit. A lot quicker profit. Okay, so this means, where's Nvidia or something? Let's do Nvidia. So let's say 30-minute play. Okay, you always have to be managing this trade. Hopefully you did take that section, ER, if you did check that out, because this here, let's just say this is a double top, and right here is where you actually were able to make money. But you want to be like, hey, volatility is not that high, so I need to take profit on this dip down, see that curl up. Maybe I just see if that's able to fade one more time down. It wasn't able to go positive, so you know, hey, I can hold on to that move. But overall, if you just really manage the trade, that's why I think that was so powerful in this context right now too. I probably should have put that out 2 weeks ago. ER, I just added something to that. I highly encourage you go watch it. I think it will answer the question that you're asking right now. I think it will. It will genuinely answer that question perfectly. If you're trying to use the options strategy that I gave, right? You can use all the information for trading, but just know we're in a very positive context in a short squeeze still. So you have to say, okay, volatility is not that high. I need to take profit a little bit earlier, or at least say break even and leave the runners. I highly encourage you to take it. It's like a 40-minute video, but a lot of that is describing exactly what to look for on the exact time frames. And then it's also telling you this. It's also telling you, hey, here's an example. Here's the example. Here's the example. I just do examples a lot. I think people learn the most from just seeing examples. And I just use the, I originally was going to do Apple and Nvidia the whole time. Only shares still go through the course. The divergences in RSI MACD info has been useful. Yes. Okay. So this will help you even better. It will cause you to only lose because with options, you'll hear me say in there a lot, like this is where you'll lose 20% or 25%. In those moves, you're only going to lose like 2 or 3%. And so the SPY one we go over was a short position that ended up making about 9%, but you had to lose 20% before that. So yours would be, you lost and the 9% move would have made you like 300%. But if you're only doing shares, like if you're buying the actual shares, the actual stock, then you would say, okay, maybe I lose 1%, 2%, then I get to make 9%. So go take that section. It literally will answer your question, I think. And if it doesn't, send me an email or follow up with me in the morning when I'm live again. What are you barking at, Bruce? What were you barking at? That's right. We got the dog beds down here now. ER, I think it will really help. If it doesn't, like I said, send me an email. Send me an email. But it's just about managing the trade. So it's like managing the trade is telling you when to cut the loss, or it has a probability of reversing around and screwing you over. And therefore, maybe I'm out. And then literally 2 hours, I could be right back in. If I'm doing like a 30-minute play, 2 hours, I can be right back in. And since you're not doing options, and maybe if you have a lower amount of money, you won't run into those problems that people have talked about on my channel, in my chat, where they don't have $25,000, so they can't day trade or anything like that. So it depends on what the crash is for. It depends on why we are crashing. But a lot of the time, guys, a lot of the time, we still see other assets crash as well. At least the stock prices of these assets can crash as well. Okay, because you have to think the reason that we could crash is because maybe we're in some kind of bubble. Okay, maybe we're in some kind of bubble or something like that. I wanted to point out this real quick. So this was 2020, the 2020 crash, and I want you to pay attention because gold crashed in the 2020 crash. Gold crashed with the market. The same exact way. The same XLU signal called a crash in gold as well. So you just want to pay attention to what the signals are telling you. Is this actually going to crash gold? The signals will tell you. Right here, there's no reason to take upside on the daily side. Then we go down to the 200. Now there's a reason, right? We got a green impression right here. Okay, now there's a reason. Manage the trade, and then you're back into that move. So if you manage the trade, I'm being genuine. I know I'm talking about the course a lot today, but ER, if ER is still here, just go take like 5 minutes of that course real quick, and then come back and tell me if you're like, holy crap, this is helpful. I'm genuine. I'm like I do this already in my own trades, but it's a lot different when you say it out loud. And you say it out loud and you go through the charts and you're talking about it in a course video. I was like, holy shit, this is one of the most helpful things I ever put out. And that really excites me, because if at least a handful of you guys take that course and really use that section, use that how to not get screwed, when to get out of a trade section, you will save so much money. You will save you will win. You will win. It is so crazy, but I was like, this is probably the video that I should have had out from the beginning in that course. And I'm very sad I didn't, because I just do it naturally, right? I do it naturally. And people would ask me about it live and I would tell them and be like, yeah, okay, here we go. But it's different when you sit down and you explain it for 40 minutes. It's very different. BOA don't have silver. Yeah, let's take a look at some random stuff here. Let's look at some of these. Actually, no. Let's look at JP Morgan. Let's look at JP Morgan and see what's going on with this guy. So financials have been doing, I believe they've been doing decent. So this is a problem. This is a big problem. You got divergences up at this level with the tapering. So this is a problem. That is a big problem. Now, what could happen from here? We still could see that next push up. So this is where the not get screwed thing happens, right? If you're trading JP Morgan and you see a big bounce like this, well, I don't want to get screwed. So what would this tell me? I should not be taking any downside right now. That's what the course will tell you how to do. I can't tell you exactly how to do it, because that would be a disservice to people who are willing to put their skin in the game and willing to put forward some money to learn. And I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, there are people who have emailed me from, I would say, bigger amounts of money than even I have. And they say that the things I say in my course, the things that I am teaching, I should be charging $2,000 for my course. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be one of those guys who's making money off of the little guy. No, I want it to be available for anyone. That's why I kind of been thinking about adding a separate swing trading course for another cheap cost, like even $50 to $100, just keeping it at that level, because I want it to be really cheap. If I keep piling things into the same course, it's going to up that value too much to where it's like, okay, yeah, I have to increase the price. But overall, it's like, this is what it teaches you. It teaches you, hey, JP Morgan, yeah, you saw the divergence. Okay, now I can get screwed. Okay, but what if this goes like this, and now I didn't lose a bunch of money in this trade, and now I have a 2-hour divergence right here that's very clear cut, and then this is the actual moment, right? They say people see this big drop, and the retailers have a bunch of puts. So what do? They screw over retail, and then right when retail takes all the calls, they try to screw them over again. And the opportunity you have is take that course. Literally, if you take the course and just watch that video, you're going to be a much better trader. You don't have to watch any rest of the course. You can just watch that one section and be like, holy crap, I'm good. I always type BOA for Bank of America. I'm stupid. Bank of America has this divergence. If this confirms, it's going to be bad. I think, we have the potential for liquidity issues, which means we have the potential for liquidity issues in short sellers, which means we could also have liquidity issues for banks if they're trying to access cash very dramatically. So this divergence here really would pay attention to this. Let's look at it on a bigger scale. Weekly, it could just rotate over the weekly. Let's see. Monthly, that's still very close to the center line. So on the weekly scale, though, you're saying, hey, we're pretty up in positive territory. So still very positive, even if we see weakness here, if we turn back around on the weekly scale. But the daily scale here, it just looks like a terrible time to buy Bank of America. It does. It looks like a really bad time to buy Bank of America from a long-term perspective. Very true, Drake. And Amazon's already confirmed a lot. Or sorry. Let me go back up to Amazon. Amazon's already lost. Amazon's already confirmed a very bad signal, and now it's starting to drop lower. The only thing I want you to pay attention to here is don't get overexcited because you're seeing this downward move. This is still pretty controlled. So I want to pay attention to what? The 2-hour. If this 2-hour can go positive, that would be a bad sign for my short position. So what would I want to do? I'd want to see, are there any signals that could turn up this 2-hour, a 30-minute? Let's see. If this 30-minute gets some kind of bounce here, what do we have down here? Well, we have a triple divergence on the RSI, and my MACD won't load right now. Damn it. Let me click back and forth, see if it'll load. There it is. So if I create this triple divergence on the 30-minute, there is no reason for me to take downside. That's going to be a trap. This could be a trap right now. We could see this gap up on Tuesday and then see that start to head up. So just want to pay attention to that. It doesn't mean it can't keep heading down, but if it wants to keep heading down at this point, if it curls up the 2-hour, you need to see something that convinces you to take that trade. 3 to 5 reasons to take a trade. You still need that. As far as even if you're in the money and you're managing that risk, once you manage that risk, you can look out for the next 3 to 5 reasons, Drake. Good find, though. Very good. You are 100% correct in saying that Amazon is weak, but it has potential to flip over the 2-hour early on this week. So I'd be paying attention to any kind of pop and drop. Just get up towards that center line, curl back over. Uh-oh, bad news. Yeah, well, a lot of banks are going to have insolvents. A lot of banks are going to have liquidity issues. Now, one thing that we like to pay attention to as well in a crash is the unemployment rate. Can I do a 1 month? Okay, this is a 1 month. You're getting up towards that center line. Remember, this is the point where we actually gave a video about unemployment rate, and this is what you actually need to be paying attention to, not CPI. This is when we came out before CPI and said, everyone says CPI is going to crash the market. CPI is going to crash. We were like the one channel saying CPI is not going to crash the market. Literally, we were like the one channel who 4 days before, I think it was 5 days before we got CPI, I said CPI is not going to crash the market. You're not paying attention to the right thing. The unemployment rate will crash the market. And we have confirmed that first signal that says, hey, the potential for unemployment to rise dramatically is there. And when unemployment rises dramatically, the stock market does crash. And what are we noticing? It's still trailing up. If this goes positive, that's probably the moment. And look how close we are to going positive. Looks like we're about a month away. Bernie, good morning. I'm working 5 jobs exactly. And that's what's really messing with the job data. And the funny thing is, Biden's proud of that. He's like, we have strong jobs, Jerome Powell, we have strong jobs. Yeah, because one person has to work 5 jobs in order for that to happen. We talked about the wage discrepancies between the wages and inflation, the wages and the prices, the wages and the stock market, how the stock market looks like, or wages look like this. But the overall stock market, if you do this, the stock market looks like this, and inflationary pricing looks like this. Actually, it's more flat than that. I'm sorry. So that just tells you that the rich are getting way, way richer, and that the poor are getting poorer, and that the middle class is becoming the lower class. One for each day of the week. I'm exaggerating before someone calls BS. Yeah, but it really is true that most, I think, like on average, people are working 2 jobs. Think about me. I'm still like, you guys think like, oh, I'm doing fantastic and all this stuff. I still work. Like, I do YouTube, I do trading. That's 2 jobs right there. Now, YouTube does not pay me like pretty much anything. YouTube doesn't pay me anything pretty much. I make like, I think like $5 to $12 a day on YouTube. So that's why I really encourage you, like the videos. I'm not asking you to donate money all the time or anything like that. I really love it when someone wants to give back to the community, because it means I can give more time to YouTube. It means I'm one step closer to doing YouTube all the time, one step closer to one-on-ones and things like that. But as of right now, I still work for the startup, and I've tried to pull back from that a lot lately to focus a little bit more on YouTube, because I don't like the behavior of the stock market right now. Right? I don't like the behavior of the stock market right now. I have all these lines. Let me clean this up. It's a good cleanup day. I don't like the stock market behavior. I think they're blatantly screwing over the retail trader, and it's very, very obvious. So I'm trying to dedicate more time to YouTube so that more people like me, which is people like you, will be successful. Any way I can help, that's why the course is cheap. That's why I did a discount on a course that's already cheap. I think this is a moment where people really need to hunker down and think about it and be like, if I could invest $100 into my education that actually has a, 30x, 50x potential if I do things correctly, why wouldn't I take that play? What was it? Lurkin Luke, if Lurkin Luke's in here, he took the course. A week later, he said, holy crap, I just made back 3 times, or I just made back all the money from my course in one trade. Nvidia went up and now it's going to come down. I think you're correct in saying that. I think you're very correct in saying that. Look, monthly, you do have divergence on the RSI, if that can confirm. Hasn't confirmed yet. We haven't gotten the turn down of the RSI. But all you got to look at is the 5-minute and be like, yeah, this is it holding up higher, not wanting to sell off. This is either the algorithms taking it higher or insiders using this as an opportunity to sell to retail traders. That's what I think is going on for the most part. I think in any way I look at this, any example, any conclusion that I can derive from this, it all includes the retail trader holding the bag. I think, and we went over this on Saturday's video, I think the minimum level that Nvidia is at over the next, I would say 1 to 5 years, is $400, which if after the split would be $40 or $40. I think that Nvidia is going to see a 62% drop over the next 1 to 5 years. I think I called out and I said about 2 years is my real estimate, which is a great thing. It means if I'm managing my positions, if I'm managing my investments, then I would say, hey, this was a great setup. This was great for a long time. Now it's time to take some off the table. 100 USD is 10 days salary in my country, so it's not cheap. Yeah. That's what sucks about the other countries too. Like, you have to think, if they're experiencing any kind of, I don't know the inflationary pressures in other country as relation to our dollar. I genuinely don't. I don't want to comment too much on that, but if you're experiencing inflation and you're only making $100 a week and you're experiencing the inflation that we are, then you're in an even tougher spot. And my thoughts go out to you, Jake. But hopefully it's not as bad as it is here, and you're not paying, what did we pay for 2 steaks yesterday? We bought like the cheapest steaks yesterday, and I think we used to get it for like 2 steaks, like nice steaks, but it was $16. And then we bought it yesterday. I think it was like $32, or no, it was $28 for those same 2 steaks that we used to pay $16 for. So what did we do? We actually found a time. Where meat was really cheap. This is what I'm saying. This is why you guys are like, if you're a prepper, you're weird or whatever, maybe. But yeah, steaks. And I'm in a place that has cheaper steaks, by the way. If you're in a different city, if you're in a more populated city, those same steaks you could pay $37 to $40 for. So what did we do? We found a time, just a quick time, where we noticed that steak prices went down to like 20. I think we could buy those steaks for about $24, $22 at one point over the last 6 months. And so what did we do? We went and we bought about 100 pounds of it. We bought like 100 pounds of those steaks just because we were like, hey, it's cheaper now. It's probably not going to be cheaper for a long time. And we've been eating those steaks for a while. And then we just went to the store and wanted to grab some because we didn't have any thawed. And I was like, let's just buy some steaks because I really wanted steak. Eventually, sometimes if you really want something, you're just going to buy it. And I really wanted a steak and mashed potatoes. And so I bought those steaks and I was like, damn, we did the right thing because we are paying, almost 25 to 30% less by buying those steaks early. Yeah, we want to grow our own stuff. That's what's sad about the rental that I'm taking, but the rental is going to save me a ton of money over the next over the next 12 months. So I wanted to buy a house because we want to start our garden. We have good seeds and all that stuff, but we're kind of weighing the pros and cons, and I kind of was like trying to do the math behind it, and I was like, it kind of comes out breaking even, and then I also would have risk if I bought a home, right? I'd have risk. So in order to keep myself from that risk, we're taking a rental. Always making the right moves, and the right move for Nvidia right now is, I would say, don't hold the bag. And watch, it's going to go up to 1,500, and you guys are going to be mad, and I'll be like, I don't care. Because I think it still goes down to something like $400 in the next 1 to 5 years. You guys know I didn't trade Nvidia a lot. But we talk about Nvidia in the course section we just put out about how to not get screwed. I need to delete these off because these aren't real. But this right here was what we talked about and how you could save yourself from getting screwed here and then flip back to bullish, right? But this here was what we talked about. A steak will be $300. Thankfully, I do know farmers who are raising cattle. And so they usually give us good deals on buying like half a cow if you buy a large amount. So we're going to do that next. Me and my dad sometimes me and my dad buy like a cow a year or something like that. That'd be cool. Because he's got the big deep freeze at his work. He's got 2 big deep freezes. Pretty cool though. Hey, yeah, and there's no problem with holding that physical silver your whole life just in case something bad happens. If you're not actively trading it, then you don't really care. You're just like, I have a safety net, pretty much. You're like, this is a safety net. And I'm glad M7 is here because he's the one who's having me researching silver more often. And I've been saying ever since, he's had me do some research over the last month, I've been like, yeah, silver looks even more undervalued than gold, at least at this point. So let's go take a look at silver real quick. And oh yeah, my desk, by the way, it keeps saying it's going to get here and then it never gets here. So I think it's a Memorial Day weekend problem. So once I get that desk here and we get the area here, the office fully set up, we're turning it into a game room too. Once we do that, I'll have the face cam back up, and it looks like that might be Tuesday night or Wednesday night. But I'm pissed. I'm like, you can't tell me it's coming on last Thursday and then just tell me it's out for delivery on Thursday and then out for delivery on Friday and then out for delivery on Saturday and now out for delivery on Sunday and then it's going to be out for delivery tomorrow. It's so frustrating because I'm like, I need it for work, like to do the best I can. I need it for work. So the course video I did just put out does not have my face on it, unfortunately. But you don't need my face to learn from it. It's actually probably even better without it because there's no distraction there. Very, very good. I hope that ER takes it and comes back and is just like, holy crap, that is so helpful. I've already received a couple emails. Oh, Dave emailed me. Approximately 1655, 1,000 split, pricing at $100 a share. What kind of pressure will that mush down its little brother and budget Nvidia substitute AMD? Will AMD holders jump to Nvidia? How long do you think the logic will take to spread throughout the market? Yeah, so Dave is bringing up a good point. Dave's always here live. And he's bringing up a good point of like, will you see a rush to AMD since Nvidia's above 1,000, but now they're doing a stock split, and this one's proven to be profitable, and it's only going to be worth $100. So what I think could happen is AMD people do rotate into Nvidia, if that it does go to 100, but I still believe that's holding the bag. And you got to see what AMD produces numbers-wise, probably like by the next earnings. But by the next earnings, we're going to be in July, and I think we're going to see a significant drop here. Do I have the 2-hour signal? Yeah, I think I would really like to see a 2-hour solid divergence on the MACD and RSI at the same time. And that's very plausible to happen. Why? Because the put-call ratio is still at 0.98 and the CPC, which is kind of like the after one. Oh, well, usually it auto-corrects, but this here, it's still remaining high, which means if people keep shorting this and keep shorting this, it's just going to keep squeezing them because retailers are shorting individual stocks and the SPY and the Qs. So they keep trying to short Nvidia. Don't do it. They're telling you, don't buy AMC, don't short it, don't even look at it. The real one you shouldn't be messing with right now is Nvidia. That's the truth. The real one you shouldn't look at is Nvidia. Now, if you want to, just do your good trading habits. That's what I would say. Silver depletion. Well, I guess, yeah, there's only a limited amount, but it's not unlimited. But what is silver mining doing? Are they seeing decreases in production? That's something to wonder. I wonder if we're seeing decrease in production in some of these metals. I mean, I know this about gold. The only reason I think gold's pretty valuable too is because it's in your cell phone. It's in my microphone. It's in my computer. Gold's in everything. I don't think I have any silver directly in any of this, but I still think silver is undervalued. Let me go use the restroom real quick. Why don't you guys type some other stocks for me to look at? Some that maybe give me something interesting, okay? I'm going to go use the restroom real quick. I'm going to leave you guys. Let's go to the SPX 500 real quick, the futures, and just look at this on a 2-hour, see if that does anything. But just let me know a stock you guys want me to look at. I'll look at a few more, and then I might have to hop off. And we're back. On Lucy? Oh yeah, someone brought up Lucy. I actually paid attention to this a little bit. Let's see. Let's see if you could have got in on Lucy. Now on the 2 hour, you don't really see a good signal here. But this is an example of like, hey, the 2 hour goes positive here, positive territory, big move up. Now that's a 2 hour, so I would maybe look into a 30-minute. So 30-minute, your first indication to get into this move isn't any of this. Now, if you wanted to be a contrarian here and say, hey, something's going to happen, okay, well, I'd look back. Do I have divergence? Not really. This doesn't look like the best thing in the world. If you were convinced at any time this was going to head up, you could kind of risk manage, and then boom, you see this cross up. I mean, if you didn't get out on this bar, technically this bar right here was telling you it's going to go up, right? So about 19 cents is where the entry would be. And if this bar, if you just didn't see it, that would have been lucky because your risk management would tell you to get out. But then the next day, you see this upward move. Technically, this is the bar that tells you, hey, get in. There's something going on here. So 36.50, so 36 cents-ish. And then you ride that thing up. Look for maybe a closing bar below the 5. If you're being risk managed here, make 100% and then walk away. A lot of these ones trading like this, by the way, a 5-minute chart is cool to follow, to trade back and forth, because you'll notice like little points where you catch the bigger move on a 5-minute chart. What happens? Well, if you risk manage here, big up move, big down move. Okay, I'm out. I'm right back in. Little percentage here. So let's see what this percentage, little percentage, right? Let's take the closing bar here, 29. Maybe you're convinced at this bar right here to get out at 17. Maybe you wait till the crossing of the MACD, which is right here. So 20% in about an hour and 5 minutes. That's very good just from an investment standpoint. You see it curl down to the center line, 5-minute chart. All right, curls back up. Now, this is very unique. I wouldn't normally do a 5-minute chart, but when you see the craziness, okay, now I'm in. Maybe I just take my 30% as I'm starting to see divergence forming. You see the divergence now. So once I start to form divergence, I go, okay, I need to really think about just not playing this anymore. Now I see a 5-minute divergence, so I'm not in that. If I wanted to still hold throughout this, right, maybe take the actual confirming bar. Okay, it goes up like this. I can get out right here, take my 18, 17%, be out of it. Right? Just be out of it because, hey, I want to make money quickly. It's on a 5-minute chart. And then if this just drops back down, now you have divergence at this level. So right now it looks like Lucy could actually suffer here. This is the contrarian signal you would take to the downside, right? If you saw this on a 30-minute chart, what would you be saying right now? You'd be like, oh, if this divergence confirms, it's ugly. So why would I take upside? You know, if anything, I'd want to see that beat down again and then curl back up, and then I can go again. Unless you know more about this than I do, I haven't done research on Lucy. I don't know if it has short seller potential or anything like that. So if you know that, then it would be, hey, yeah, maybe you were investing pretty heavy at these low levels, and then you're just scaling out slowly. And then now you're like, okay, I've made, like you said, maybe you made $2,000 and you just leave a few shares in for a run up if that goes to, $5 or something crazy. Which can happen, guys. It can happen. Back in 1902, during the last major short seller squeeze, is what I will say, the short seller squeeze, where the short sellers got squeezed, you had a stock in 1902, a railroad stock that went from $40 to $1,000. Now add inflation into that, and GME is priced in at $20 with all the inflation in. And you're saying, well, this could probably go to like there is actual legitimate potential for this to go to like 1,000, and there's potential for it to go to $10,000. There is. But that's not saying it has to happen, right? It doesn't have to happen. If it's going to expose the short selling problem like it did back in 1902, then that can happen. But if we're going to see more manipulation and these people just reposition their shorts 3 years out or whatever they're doing, then it won't happen now, but you know, if it actually does happen, GME does have potential to go above 1,000. It actually has potential because inflation is there, and I'm assuming that they're dealing, back in the day, they might not have been dealing with billions and billions of dollars. Now they're dealing with hundreds of billions of dollars maybe in these stocks, and that can cause the stock to just go ballistic up towards $10,000 to $50,000. And all we have to do to catch the move, by the way, is just pay attention to our charts. AMC, I think, is a great one because the 2 hours still in positive territory. So that would tell me what, as a trader, if I see this curl up on a 2 hour into positive territory, hey, there's the moment, risk managed. Now it's not the moment. Now it curls up again. There's the moment. If it curls back down, now it's not the moment, right? We're risk managing the whole way. SHIB is spiking. We did go over SHIB a little bit ago. That move was the, you want the 4 hour to cross up. Look at that. 4 hour crosses up right here. Boom. Now you see that upside. Here's it. All right. I just put the video out on the course that is on sale for just another few days as of right now. If I see more people are interested in it, then we're going to do that. But it's pretty much like if you guys actually take the plunge and you're interested in it and you really want to learn and you're proving to me like, hey, it's not a lot of money. It's $100, but I know it's a lot of money to some people. If you're willing to put that skin in the game to learn, you're probably going to make well more than $100 in the next 2 weeks. If you follow everything correctly and you take that last thing I just put out yesterday, if you take that risk management as far as how to not get screwed, then you will make plenty of money. So here is actually the 2 hour. This was the bar that actually told you like, hey, I can go positive. This is the contrarian signal in negative territory. So really you'd be in right here and managing this and looking at a 4 hour, managing it on that, managing it on a 30-minute and saying, if this curls down, then maybe I want to take profit a little bit, see that curl back up, and maybe an even bigger move is coming very soon with that 4 hour momentum taking over. So as of right now, no reason to really sell based on the 4 hour, no reason to sell based on the 2 hour. Your fiat currency, the fiat dollar, is going to zero. Very well could happen. But why does it go to zero? Because that's how it can affect Bitcoin. That's why I think you're pretty smart, M7, in saying, you know, physical gold, physical silver, because if it's some kind of EMP or something like that, loaded up last night, then you're doing good. So manage the trade, okay? Options, manage the trade. That's the video we just put out on Patreon, or on in the course down in the description. It's how to manage what's happening right now, and you can manage this just like you do a regular stock. You're going to see more price fluctuation, but a trade like water is the best thing to do, so you never get screwed. You never get screwed. Right now, the 2 hour curled up right here, told you to be a contrarian. Okay, boom, you're really close to the center line. Get in at 2461. Now you're all the way up at 2605. So solid percentage there. 6%. Right now you're sitting at about 5.5. Just want to manage the trade. If the 30-minute curls over, I might want to be a little bit like, ooh, maybe I want to take some off the table and reapply that later. Just keep managing the trade all the way up. Good job, options. Way to find it. Let's look at it on a daily scale because the 4 hours turned up. The daily was rejecting and able to go positive here. That's a pretty bullish sign. Yeah, we're going to get way overloaded in America with the dollar. Sucks that crypto has the nasty spreads, makes them tougher to trade. They do. Makes them tough to trade. I would never do any kind of ETF option on something like this. What was it telling you right here? Well, right here it actually said, you know, crossed up, positive territory could happen right here. So this bar right here, actually, even though it's red, that's the one that told you like, hey, the daily scale could turn up. But I like my 4 hour and 2 hours. GCT. GigaCloud. The GigaCloud. Well, the daily was able to roll down, waiting for this to cross up and go positive. As of right now on the daily scale, GigaCloud is in negative territory. Therefore, we still are negative about it even at these lows. Okay, first things first. Now, if we go into a 2 hour, what do we see? Well, we crossed up. We don't necessarily have a reversal here. So if you did take a chance on this on a 2 hour chart crossing up and you expect this to go positive, you just want to manage that trade. That's what you can do over on that course right now. That's going to teach you, oh, okay, so I curled down right here. So I'm decently close, right? I'm still pretty far away, actually, than to the center line here. But if I want to be diligent, maybe I say, okay, I take some off the table. This curls down. If it curls right back up, I can reapply that money and then catch that move and just be a little bit risk averse, right? Manage that risk the whole way through the trade. GS2C, yeah, let's look at this. And I'm still doing research on the European market with GameStop. This thing's screaming higher. I'm trying to see if this is a way that they can manipulate to get out of positions, like to just rip some money away from people. Therefore, they could, take some money and then reapply that to actual GME stock. So I'm still doing research on that. But right now, what would you say? 30-minute just crossed down. Contrarian would say some kind of pullback is coming, right? So 2 hour, is that positive? Ooh, it's very close. It's very close. Now you do have a 2 hour divergence here. So this bounce makes total sense, right? So this bounce makes total sense. Right here is where you confirmed that divergence and you can be a contrarian. Even though you're in negative context, this is a bullish contrarian signal right there. So let's line that up. Where does that get you in on this move? That gets you in right here at $17. We'll say $17. What have you seen since then? Well, we're seeing a run up, and now we need to manage that trade. 50% is plenty for now. 30-minute pulls back, gets close to the center line, then you know that positivity will continue. So as of right now, actually 30 minutes ago, this bar right here said, hey, some downside potential is there. This comes down. It's not negative though. It's not negative. It's positive. So that means maybe I still leave like half of my runners. I see this curl back down. If that curls back up, I can apply more to that position. And then if the 30-minute isn't able to curl up and that's able to go negative, then I want to look at a 2 hour. If this curls over, it's not going to look good for this position at this point. So I would really like to manage my risk here by looking at a 30-minute, taking some off the table with this lower high. If I see this low broken, then I know, okay, I need to look for some kind of support, maybe down towards 1950. And then if that is able to turn back around, boom, I just kind of swing trade it, right? I kind of just say, okay, this is the moment. I hope that was helpful. I hope you were able to make money in that overall move. And Sewell, I hope that was helpful. Yeah, great, thanks. Now, if you want to learn more about this and Sewell test, how I see charts, and if you want to be very, very good at this, there's a course down in the description. I'm running a sale on it. It's $100, but this will really, really help you out. I have people that are emailing me like I'm telling all my friends about this, about your channel and things like that. And I love to see it because that's just more retail people I can help. The goal here is to help the retail trader. Let's see here. Silver. There, I did it. I finally typed it. Silver, remember the 4 hour turning up. Now it's positive. So you can be a little bit more confident in this move. Still manage the trade. Manage the trade the whole way. If this 2 hour curls over, you know, hey, I don't want to lose a bunch of money. Okay, so even if that 2 hour, maybe you want to look at a 30-minute, that's really positive, really bullish move up towards an area where you would create maybe a handle or something like that. Some kind of pullback could come. So what a diligent thing to do is be like, I'm in the money. Let me take some of that money so I know like I can be closer to breaking even, or I can be closer to making money. That way I can play with house money. As of right now, not necessarily seeing weakness in this move, but just know that can come at any moment. We don't remain at these extreme levels too long. Now, this can just keep running. So if you're someone that's just someone who likes to hold something that looks good, well, you had a 4 hour turn up, you had the daily reject the crossing, and the 2 hours in positive territory now. So this is saying upside. And there's nothing about this saying downside right now. Pre-market to rebuy if it falls. So the course will really help you out with that.
it will really help you out. And the video I just put out is managing risk, and that's something that can help you with profit taking. But as far as GME goes, I do have a weekly range for this. So if it's up towards that weekly range very early on Monday, then that would be a good area to say, hey, I want to take profit. Now, if you're seeing something crazy happen, that range, you only land in it 68% of the time. So that would tell me if I'm going to see a short squeeze happen, I'm going to go outside of that range dramatically. That's what I would say. As far as taking profit, though, on these type of things, right now you're at a point where the 2-hour can curl up. So I think if we see positivity, we might get the squeeze early on this week. But if we don't, and we see the 2-hour curl up, well, we can manage the trade by looking at other time frames, right? So 30-minute goes positive. Anytime this rolls back down into negative territory, you should have no reason to take upside. No reason to take upside. So if we do a gap up like this and it starts to fade, well, we just want to pay attention. Is that crossing back down and crossing back up? If it crosses down, no reason to take upside. But then if that crosses back up, positive territory is right there. Meta and Apple. Let's go look at Meta. And we're going to do a full breakdown in tonight's YouTube video, but Meta looks like it needs some kind of pullback on the 30-minute. Not necessarily overbought overbought yet. So what do we want to look at? Well, first off, on the 2-hour, we talked about head and shoulders forming. So the reason I have to just pay attention to this if I'm taking upside here is if this rolls over at any time, the likelihood for breaking this base is pretty high. You have a left, you have a head, you have a right shoulder, you knocked on the door once, you knocked on the door twice, you knocked on it 3 times, you do it a 4th time, you're probably breaking down to 453.08. And look at this, the 2-hour, very close to negative territory. So I'd really be paying attention to my 30-minute, seeing if that crosses over. That means weakness. Wait for that to cross back up if I want to get bullish again, right? But this can start out bullish, and then that 2-hour divergence is there. So even if we go bullish right off the bat on tomorrow, then you will have a triple divergence here on the 2-hour, right? We can see it forming right now. But you have to make sure that confirms. Thanks for the concise answer. Like I said, I'm not kind of sugarcoating anything anymore. I'm not. I'm here to help you guys out. And then when I do help you guys out, give back to the community. I'm trying to pretty much turn YouTube into my, so I can quit working for this startup. I genuinely want to quit working for this startup. So anytime you guys can help me out, thank you. But I'm doing just fine trading. So I'd like you to do, I don't even want you to, really donate or anything like that. I'd more so appreciate if you donate. I'd rather you do something that can help you out, like take the course or join the Patreon, because I'm going to be giving trade setups every single week on Tuesday or Wednesday around those weekly expected moves. Those are very, very helpful. That's how we called Apple. So someone wanted to talk about Apple. We called out this trade. You got to do 2-hour divergence. This is where managing that risk will help. So this was the actual one I was going to talk about in the course video, but I ended up just doing the SPY because it looks so good. This is a good chance to practice managing the trade. Notice you weren't wrong. You weren't wrong. And we say this in the course video. You weren't wrong. It just wasn't the right timing, right? They want to trick one more time, bait in retailers to taking calls, puts get cheap, and then the algorithm flips. I'm actually trying to set up a Discord. I just moved, so I'm trying to set up a Discord. But right now, you'll get everything on Patreon. Everything that I give out pretty much is on Patreon. And good morning, Mr. Rosales. Did you change your picture, Mr. Rosales? You changed your picture. So right now, everything's on Patreon. If I make a Discord, it'll most likely be for one-on-one work for people that need anything. If you guys didn't know, if you guys remember, AD came in here and he said he accidentally he made a bad decision. He did not. I don't know if he took the course. I need to ask him, but he invested into $60,000, his whole life savings, after he lost his job, into a short position. He made this very clear. He put it on our stream, so it's not like I'm calling him out or anything like that. He put it on the stream, and he pretty much shorted the market right when we were calling a short squeeze. So you can imagine how tough that is, because the next day we gapped up and we started to short squeeze. So that can really, really mess with someone. So I told you guys I was going to give one free lesson, one free one-on-one hours worth one-on-one to someone. I'm going to do that for AD, okay? Because he literally has lost like $45,000 in 2 weeks or something like that. So, and it's his whole life savings, and he lost his job. So I'm going to help him out. And then that's going to be my tester to see if we can do one-on-ones. It's kind of my test to see if one-on-ones are good. And he's going to write about his experience to let me know what I could do better or what he liked about it, if it was helpful. And if it's helpful overall, then I'll most likely be opening up one-on-ones to everyone here. But in order to do one-on-ones, guys, it's just very helpful for you to have a basis. Because if we do a one-on-one for an hour and it costs you $50 to $150 to do a one-on-one for an hour, it's like, I don't want to be going through the basics of like MACD positive and negative territory, right? We need to at least have that base. So take the course and then do a one-on-one, because that will give you a base, and then we can focus on your trading and your bad and good habits, your strengths and weaknesses. That's what I'd overall like, because then that hour becomes 10 times more valuable to your actual trading. So for this one here, the 30-minute though, we knew there's no reason to take downside once we see this curl up. We talked about this live. Now the moment is there. Boom, this bar right here. We didn't give it the perfect time for this, but you notice the 30-minute divergence gave you a hint. This is a great position right here at about 192.40. And then look at this. You see a big drop very quickly. This is a sign to take profit, because that is almost a 3% drop. When it happens this quickly and you take out a month position, you're going to make about 1 to 200% on the trade within like 2 days. Okay, so this here is where we say, okay, now we need to manage the risk. We see a gap up. Okay, no reason to take downside. If you didn't already take profit, this is telling you not to take profit here. We go into this extensively in the last video. We can take a look at the SPY on the weekly. And Apple, oh yeah, by the way, let's give a further implication here. Apple on the 30-minute here, it is right by the center line. So you want to see, is this able to flip back to positive? Or is it going to cross down? If this crosses down, it's in negative territory. Maybe we double bottom. Maybe we go a little bit lower and then see this gap come into play, this gap support right here. So we'll pay attention to that. But if we're going to see upside, then you're going to see the 2 hour able to roll up, and maybe we create another point of divergence. And this is what we're paying attention to with XLU, because I think it is possible we make this move this week. And then actually June, early June or mid June, we actually see XLU give us that full crash signal with that divergence. So, what were you talking about? SPY on the weekly. So SPY on the weekly here, not the like worst look. And this is why I'm kind of thinking we still might see a week or two of upside, because then we create a little divergence here. You already have it on the RSI. You just don't have it on the MACD at the same time. Now, sometimes rejections are stronger. And a lot of people would argue that rejections of upside are stronger. In my experience, when they are at the same time, meaning I get a couple green impressions and then that rolls over, that's more of a trap that leads to a bigger drop. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking for here. But since you're asking about the weekly in Sewell, I want you to really quickly look at the monthly. This is the overall crash signal you need to pay attention to in the actual market. Now, we're paying attention to XLU for our crash signal on the daily, but this is not a good look. If the monthly can go negative, you notice we haven't been negative in a long time. Okay, so the last time we were actually able to go negative, what ends up happening? We actually get a prolonged crash. Okay, so from this point right here, we go negative around here. Okay, what happens from this point? We go down like 50%. Okay, so this here is the overall crash signal in the actual market you want to pay attention to. Points where there are divergences on the weekly, the daily, that lead to the monthly going negative. Now you have a divergence on the monthly, which means we could go really negative. We could see the stock market head all the way down to 156.80. You genuinely could if we go negative. We have to go negative. I think we're crashing by mid-June. I highly encourage you in Sewell, if you want to see my crash signal that I put out a video on YouTube on Saturday. It's literally the last video on my channel, I think, right before this one. And if you just go there, it's my previous YouTube video. I highly encourage you watch that. it's going to give you some very in detail stuff about XLU and why we could be seeing this turn back down. Okay, XLU, yes, it's crossing up on the monthly. You see that, but these daily signals, anytime XLU has made a divergence, so that's what we're paying attention to for June. If we can do something like this just really quickly, then that would be a divergence at this level, and then we could see this actually go negative. If that goes negative, pretty much the last 3 crashes we've had, we've seen this signal. We've gotten a big run up. We've been talking about this since about this date, like May 2nd or May 3rd, pretty much the beginning of May. We started to say XLU's running up, pay attention to this signal. This signal started to prove the market, XLU actually went down, crossed on the MACD while the market was getting that upward move. And I said, this is most likely going to fade. I said that live. You can go look at the live video on Thursday. I said, this is most likely going to fade. And guess what? It faded. It ended up with a big red day down to follow XLU. Hey, I appreciate it, Insul, and I totally appreciate it. And if you need to take the course and you don't have that little extra money, you can take it. There's a payment. You have to pay the full amount, but you can take it $50. So there is a payment plan as well. If anyone can't pay $100 outright, you will have to pay a little bit more, but at least the $50 gets you the information right away, and you get access to all the info. It's right there for you. You can probably finish it in about a day or 2. And I would highly encourage you to finish it decently quickly, take notes, and then go through certain sections and just practice. But I appreciate it. I try to give out as much info as I can here in Sewell, so that you can learn from it. Because most people who take it, I mean, especially if you do the payment plan, even if you're going to end up paying $200 over 4 months, at least you get it for $50. And, you know, people come out and they say, you know, I've made all my money back within like 2 days. They've made their $150 back in 2 days. So as long as you're managing those trades, they're going to go well for you. So don't skip the additional content portion. That's one of the most important videos. I labeled it as important additional content. All right, guys. It's about that time, though. I got to hop off. It is still a day off for me, so I'm going to go spend some time with the girls. We're going to maybe go on a walk and maybe go over to Grandma's for a little bit. So thank you guys so much for joining. I am going to be making a YouTube video tonight with a full breakdown of all the stocks that we do cover. I'm glad that you guys were able to show up today. 60 people in here watching on a day that everyone has off is a great, great sign. I respect you for it. You are here to learn, and that is a huge deal that you are here on technically a day off for a lot of people. I know not everyone's probably off, but on a day off for you and you're here trying to learn, that is fantastic, and I applaud you for it. I genuinely applaud you for it. I'm still learning. I tell you guys that all the time. I convince you guys like, hey, never stop learning. I am always learning. I'm always adding to my repertoire. I'm always adding to the course. I'm always adding to the Patreon. As much value as I can put forward with my time, I will do so. And all I ask is, hey, if you can't afford to take the course, if you can't afford to join the Patreon, just make sure to like every single video, okay? Come into the stream, give your input, give a like, comment, tell us your input, and we'll talk back and forth. I think it's great. Thank you guys. Oh, I just burped. Thank you guys so much for joining. Really do appreciate it. I'm going to leave you guys live on silver for a little bit. Let's leave you guys live on silver for a little bit. That thing's seeing a good move. Able to reject. Now we just got to watch this 2 hour. If that 2 hour rolls down at any point, we should not be taking any more upside, because what's happening? Well, we could go negative, but if that flips right back around, hey, we can be right back in that move, okay? So thank you guys for joining. Hope you guys have a great day off, and I hope that you guys are dedicated to learning just like I am, all right? Have a great day. I'll see you guys later on YouTube, and I'll see you tomorrow live. Peace out.